up, y'all? Welcome to Chip and Zay, Texas Sports Unfiltered. See my guy in the waiting room, Chip Brown.
Hey, the immortal words of Judy Brown. Happiness is a choice. We're happy you spend some time with us. We are off the rails on a Thursday here on Chip and Zay, Texas Sports Unfiltered. Zay, what's going on, my man?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Feeling good?
TM Zay.
That's what they call me, I guess.
What they call him, as they should.
Not too shabby. Yeah, appreciate you, CB. Never forget 24 years ago today what happened, all the folks that lost their lives and people who were affected, still affected to this day. God bless you all.
Yeah. It was a unbelievable day. And we'll never forget. Wish we could all pull together like that all the time. That's what I remember most about that time. But hey, it's a different world out there.
Yeah.
But hey, let's just all try to pull together. Remember coming together as a country in 2001, and let's see if we can pull together.
Yeah.
Just like Texas Longhorns are trying to pull it together against UTEP. Malachi Nelson, former 5-star quarterback, top 5 quarterback in the 2023 recruiting cycle. Arch Manning was number 1. Malachi Nelson was number 5. There were some. According to ESPN, Malachi Nelson was their number 1 quarterback that year over Arch Manning. How's that going, ESPN? Huh.
Yeah.
24/7 Sports had Arch Manning as the number 1 overall recruit and number 1 quarterback. Malachi Nelson, number 5. And Rex says, never trust anyone named Malachi. Why? Because that was the redheaded crazy kid in Children of the Corn, right?
Oh, really?
Right, Rex? Is that why? Come on now. Malachi. That kid will scare you to death. Isn't that a Stephen King? That's a Stephen King production.
Yeah.
Children of the Corn, Pet Cemetery, It.
Those are classics, man.
Yeah, man. Carrie.
The blood dripping off of her and stuff. They were laughing at Carrie.
They were laughing at her until she started just putting blood on everybody.
Yeah, she started moving stuff. Once Carrie locked them doors, it was a wrap for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Once she locked them doors, she was like, y'all ain't leaving. Y'all gonna feel my wrath.
How about Stephen King? The same guy who wrote Children of the Corn and Pet Cemetery and The Shining also wrote Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
No,
Stephen King.
Right there.
That dude is prolific.
Yeah.
Christine. Oh, yeah. All them Stephen King. I mean, this book, look at this. I haven't even read this book yet. But this is Stephen King writing about the JFK assassination. Look how thick this book is.
Jeez.
This guy, he just wakes up and vomits 500 pages. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rex says that he's read this one. It says it's great. It's on my list. It's got to be a part of the summer reading because I don't get to read during the football season. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Stephen King. I mean, the guy is Unbelievable.
So what's your favorite Stephen King movie?
Oh, Shawshank.
Shawshank.
Yeah. I mean, Shawshank could be my favorite book and movie.
Wow.
I mean, there's some great books. I don't want to just be like that, but I mean, Shawshank is a great story. It's a great story. It's a great movie. See, now what's going on here? My man, Steven. Can we change the name of the show to Chocolate and Chip? Brown. What are we doing?
Yo, that's mad catchy, Steven. I can't even lie.
Chocolate and Chip.
That's,
Brown.
I don't know how it will go. I'm good with it. I mean, Chip and Zay, I like that too, but
I'm good with it, he says.
Yo, dark chocolate, for real. There's a difference. Please believe me. There's a difference. Yeah. Well, I like it. I like how y'all are thinking today. You know what I'm saying?
Right. We're off the rails. We're always off the rails on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Usually because I've just been up all night writing the Insider. Over at Horns 24/7. Oh, look at this. We need a Chip and Zay version of Gum Bros.
Oh, we don't, man. I'm never sharing gumbo again because of y'all. I am very secure with myself. Ain't nothing wrong with a brother sharing some gumbo with a good friend. Shout out to Trey Allen. That's my guy. Always will be my guy. And when we were in New Orleans, we shared a terrific bowl of gumbo. Different spoons, y'all. Y'all act like I was feeding him and he was feeding me. That's not how it went down.
Yeah, like y'all were intertwining arms, feeding each other.
Yeah, I'm not in New Orleans enough, you know what I'm saying, to just be, I got to try everything I can while I'm there. So if that means splitting something, then it's cool. But y'all will never forget that. Gum Bros, I'm clearly still hearing it to this day. Ebony and Ivory.
I love it. Y'all are on one today. That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna have we got a fun show today. We're gonna be talking to our man, Dr. Chad Denman at 2:30 from the Sleep Cycle Center, and Lance Taylor, our SEC insider and prognosticator at lanceslock.com at 3:00. So we got picks today because I'm off tomorrow. My wife has got some surprise lined up for my birthday. Don't even know what's going on. She just said, "Can you get Friday off?" I'm like, "Baby, for you, I'll do it."
That's real love right there.
Real love.
That's real love. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate you playing hooky on your birthday for real love.
Last year on my birthday, I think I played golf and came in with sunglasses on.
Yeah, you which I miss. You know, that was a good day. When you play golf, there's always good days. I mean, yeah, we always have good days anyway, but when you play golf, especially, it's a good day.
Well, look, let's bring in the doctors right now from the Sleep Cycle Center, Dr. Chad and Dr. Kalen. What is going on, fellas?
Hi, thanks so much again for having us today. How's the week been for you guys?
Well, thank you so much for everything that you're doing to help guys with sleep apnea. Like myself, I always tell the guys, don't mess around with this, because if you're snoring, it's more than just annoying to the person next to you. It could be the sign of a serious health issue. So we appreciate the fact that we have the Sleep Cycle Center, the Sleep Cycle Centers, actually, Lakeway and the Arboretum, right here in Austin, Texas. Thanks to y'all.
Thank you. And, you brought up a good point. Bed partners, although, they help out in bed to let us know that we're snoring or we're having sleep issues. their sleep is also affected. So there's a new term in our field called secondhand sleep apnea, and that is when your bed partner, falls asleep and is woken up by you multiple times a night. So they may not have the disease, but because they get woken up, they get pulled out of the deeper levels of sleep, and that affects their livelihood too as well. So definitely good to get that person in. Chip and Zay, we've been able to help quite a few of people that listen to you all on a daily or weekly basis. So would love the opportunity to partner with many more as time goes on, and that's why we've been with you guys so long. Is I think it's a great fit. This is one of those diseases that goes untreated. Last night we did a seminar for a bunch of patients, and we've done different webinars. And what people don't necessarily understand is this is as prevalent as high blood pressure, and not too many people are taking the time to really dive into it. It's an 8-question screener that's over 80% accurate, identifying who has the disease and who doesn't. And so, of course, the first question is, do you snore? Have you been told that you snore? If that's the case, all of those people obviously should be tested just to make sure that it's just snoring. If it's just snoring, we can help you be more quiet, of course. But if it is sleep apnea, then it's something that we need to look more into. And, out of everyone in Central Texas, we're the only company that we're aware of that offers many different treatment modalities as we have. And so whether it's weight loss, wearing an oral device, a CPAP, doing the Inspire, radio frequency lasers, you name it, we've got it, and we can help your patients become a lot more, and your listeners a lot more healthy.
Well, and we appreciate the partnership because, when our listeners go to sleepcyclecenters.com and let you all know that they heard about you from Texas Sports Unfiltered, you're taking $100 off their sleep study, which is incredible incentive to get checked out. For a lot of our listeners, we have a lot of females too, but we have a lot of males, 25 to 54. I'm on the higher end of that. We got to get checked out on everything. Our heart, we have the Austin Heart Hospital. We do the heart scan. We got, we need to get our physicals every year. We need to get our prostate checked. And if we're snoring, we need to go to the Sleep Cycle Center and get checked out, because Dr. Chad, I say this practically every time I talk about you all, but this is personal for you. I mean, sleep apnea killed your father, and you're inspired to make sure that doesn't happen to others.
Very much so. Yes. I lost him at the age of 60, which is, very young to pass away. Most people don't realize, but this disease does, if it's not treated, does shorten your life by 8 to 20 years, depending on the severity. He was the youngest person in his family to pass away. And, there are a lot of warning signs. Some of them, if we're just listing them off, besides snoring, unusual weight gain of usually more than 10 pounds per year, acid reflux, irritability, kind of like a 4-year-old without a nap, where you're just not, the same as you used to be. But really consider that it's affecting about 1/3 of the population above the age of 40. Most men start seeing it in their 30s due to decreased testosterone and loss of collagen from their airway to be able to, stay open. And most women, we see it pick up more in their 50s due to menopause. And so I brought on Kalen here. He's also a patient, much like myself, where I failed CPAP, couldn't use it. I felt like I was suffocating. The oral device worked for me, and now working on epigenetics to regrow my nasal floor for a permanent change. And it's something that not everyone's a candidate for, but for me, with a narrow airway, it's really, really helped. And Kalen too wears an epigenetic device at night.
Yeah, and it's good to have that firsthand experience, especially when I'm out drawing those connections for the different providers in town and out in the community, because I feel like one of the big commonalities in a lot of the referrals that we get is where their second, third, fourth, fifth referral, because they're going to see their doctors for a different issue, whether it's fatigue or skin condition, like literally any other medical condition, and then they can't figure out what it is. Eventually someone's like, okay, we'll go take a sleep study. And so my job is to try to bring that more to the forefront of people's thinking, whether it's just them at home or their providers out in the community, so that we can get ahead of it, so that people can get treated sooner, instead of waiting years down the line where the disease has gotten worse and it started to more negatively impact some of those more severe conditions like heart disease, early onset dementia, Alzheimer's, and all of that. So the more we can get it in people's ears, and the more that we can get it into the top of mind and remove those barrier to entries, the better people's lives can be.
Yeah, I mean, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can't tell you how many marriages people have told us that we've solved over the years. And, even a patient about 2 years ago had been to their endocrinologist due to diabetes issues, multiple medications to try to control it, became insulin dependent, ended up with some gangrene starting in their foot. And the doctor's like, well, your blood sugar is all out of whack. Let's focus on diet. And they worked at the diet, and they were going to be a double limb amputee. And come to find out, you fixed their sleep apnea and they healed. Wow. And so it's, really consider, like, the body needs oxygen. If it gets the oxygen and it gets the sleep that it needs, a lot of these medications and things that people are on, it may just be a Band-Aid fix for right now. And once the sleep apnea is under control and you can get back to the proper sleep, then your longevity then goes way up. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this, because what y'all do is absolutely awesome. Obviously, there are different types of sleep apnea: obstructive, central, complex, etc. How do you treat each one? And what do you recommend when it comes to treating each one whenever somebody comes in and, they have a different one from the other?
Sure. No, I love this question. First of all, not everybody fits inside of a box. So we do have specific treatment plans based on, what you've talked about, whether it's obstructive or central or mixed. And what the differences are between those. Obstructive sleep apnea is where the throat or your airway closes a number of times per hour. Usually it's 5 or more times per hour. If you're mild or moderate, a lot of times something as simple as repositioning the jaw at night fixes the issue. But then it's more of a lifetime commitment, much like a CPAP, where you have to wear it once you have the disease. Weight loss can definitely help. If you have about 60 pounds or more to lose, you can drop a whole level from severe to moderate to mild, which opens you up to a lot more different treatment modalities. And then central sleep apnea is, and thanks for bringing this up, Zay, central sleep apnea is where your brain has to tell you to breathe. So no longer is your brain stem enough, but with your cortisol response, we've talked about another podcast with you all, where when your oxygen drops below 95% saturation, your brain stem will signal your adrenal glands to release cortisol. Cortisol will speed up your pulse rate to circulate more of that oxygenated blood to lift those levels back up. Well, central sleep apnea is where that has been exhausted. You've had sleep apnea too long, and you start needing your brain to tell you to breathe. That also gives you two responses, brainstem and brain, to breathe, 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 breathe. So if your central sleep apneas are too high, which is more than 15 events per hour, there's really only one treatment modality that really works for you, and that is called a BiPAP. And a BiPAP takes the pressure off so that you can exhale afterwards. And then, of course, there's Inspires. We do send people that fail CPAP or don't want to wear something on their teeth or move their jaw forward at night. That's an implant that goes in your chest. It is a complex surgery where they cut along your collarbone and dissect up through your neck into your tongue and place a lead. And that lead and the implant, notice when your oxygen drops and it fires your tongue forward and opens your airway. And that works in about 70% of the patients, but it's usually more of a last resort for us because there's a lot more easier to use and a lot cheaper. The Inspire runs $50,000 to $60,000, and a lot of times you have an out of pocket because it's, surgery is never really covered at 100%.
And in those instances where there are multiple options available, so people that are in the moderate to mild categories, ultimately what's going to be best is just whatever is most comfortable and that the patient will stick to. Because you can treat a lot of people with CPAP, but if it's uncomfortable, they can't get a good seal or just have claustrophobic associations, and it's going to turn into a doorstop and they're not going to be getting any benefit from it anyway. So that's what we try to do, is try to find what's going to be the easiest solution for the patient to be the most compliant so they're actually getting that benefit.
And everyone listening here knows somebody that has had sleep apnea. Some of the celebrities, if I were to mention, are, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Princess Leia, if we bring up Star Wars here, and some people you really wouldn't think about because they're the best at their game and they're the most fit people that you think of. So a lot of people, when they think of this disease, they think of, an overweight person, and that's just not the case. There's a lot that goes into this. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've got locations in Lakeway and at the Arboretum. And like I say, we're fortunate that you all are in Austin because you're doing really great work, important work. What else do you want people to know?
I think it starts with a phone call. So if you go to www.sleepcyclecenters.com, there's a screener online that you can fill out, or just click contact us and we'll definitely take it from there. Usually the first visit with us, you meet one of our 2 board certified sleep physicians that does a virtual call with you, asks you a number of questions, and then either orders a sleep study or has other recommendations for you. All of our sleep studies are disposable. They can be delivered to your home. So don't feel like you got to take off work to get this done. We make it as easy as possible. And then we'll meet and sit down and go over that. Oftentimes, most of our patients, we also do a full workup, which means we'll do a CT evaluation. If insurance doesn't cover it, we write that off. That's usually an $800 gift to every single patient that walks in the door, because we want you to know as much about your airway as you can. And we want to know what treatment option is going to work for you before just writing a prescription and saying, try this, and using up your benefits, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's much appreciated. And I don't know, how big of sports fans you are or what your team is, but everybody needs to get on board with the Sleep Cycle Center team and get checked out, get the information so that you know what's going on. You're not guessing, you're not putting your health at risk.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all. And we're going to keep sending folks over to sleepcyclecenters.com to set up the appointment. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with Texas Sports Unfiltered, because hopefully we're making sure that everyone who snores knows it's not just annoying to the person sleeping next to them. It could be the sign of a health issue, and to get checked out. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Now I have to ask you guys, I don't know about you, Dr. Caleb, but I know you, Dr. Chad, love you some football. What are you thinking of this Texas football team, the college football season thus far?
No, I think I've shared with y'all, I grew up in Florida. So my team, right. I went to Florida State University. I've lived here though for 20 years, and I do like watching college football. I'm not a huge professional football fan, because I feel like the college football players still have heart, and they're playing for their school. And Kalen, he's
I went to UT, so I'm contractually obligated to support the Longhorns no matter what. So
Well said.
I love it. Well, listen, y'all are the best. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming on today, and thanks for everything you're doing at Sleep Cycle Center.
thank you so much for having us.
thank you.
Thank you.
bet.
Your week.
There they are. Dr. Chad, Dr. Kalen, making it happen. And it's so simple. Just go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you $100 off your sleep study. Get checked out so that, you're not putting your health at risk.
Yeah, one of my favorite players all time, Reggie White. And what Reggie White went through, definitely eye-opening during the time when he passed, and learning that sleep apnea was a reason why. And yeah, Dr. Chad and Dr. Kalen, those guys, they're money. And like you said, Shep, you got to take care of yourself, man. I know as men, we are very naive and we could be very ignorant about our bodies because we think we're invincible. That's not the case. So yeah, going to Sleep Cycle Centers, way to go.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a loaded show, and Zay, I'm kind of in did more deeper dive and talking to sources, and DeAndre Moore, concussion,
Damn.
in concussion protocol.
Wow.
Held out of practice Monday through Wednesday. Had one source say he's trending in the right direction to maybe be available on Saturday, but I don't think you're going to see DeAndre Moore. So this is, another situation where they need to make sure everything's in good order with DeAndre Moore so that he's ready and available to go for SEC play against Florida. I don't think you're going to see Alex January either. He was held out of the San Jose State game. I think he's going to be held out again against UTEP on Saturday at 3:15. So, and
Travian Wisner,
probably not going to see him on Saturday against UTEP either. So, more opportunity for the guys waiting in the wings. A receiver, Dalen McCutcheon, Khalil Lockett.
Ryan
Still interested to see what is going on with Ryan Niblett, to see if there is a role for him. But this will be on offense. Ryan Niblett on offense. Could he be that Keelan Robinson, Jaden Blue guy? Because we know he's got wheels. We know he can cook. So it's going to be more opportunity for the guys who've been working hard and maybe feeling like, hey man, what about me? Okay, well, guess what? It's your time. So make the most of it. Because let's just start with the tight ends. And there's some talk that Jack Endry's a little tight here and there, might be limited, although I think he's fine. But let's start with the tight ends. I thought we saw good stuff from Nick Townsend, from Amari Winston. Jordan Washington can catch. He's got to be a more committed blocker.
Yeah.
Almost got his quarterback smashed in the end zone against San Jose State.
He had a really good block on the first Jack Endry's touchdown that took a while to develop. Jordan Washington was in the game and picked up a key block to give Arch a little bit more time to get that throw off that ended up in the touchdown. And yeah, I agree. Jordan Washington does need to step up his blocking game a little bit, but even though he had some tough moments, he had some good moments too.
Yeah. And look, Texas is succeeding out of 12 personnel. Most of their explosive plays have come out of 12 personnel. And it's interesting. Most of their explosive plays have also come when using a stack, set, or a bunch grouping of receivers. You do that typically to try to get a free release for one of those receivers. And it's working. The 83-yard touchdown came out of that. The 83-yard touchdown to Parker Livingston, and the 36-yard touchdown to Jack Endries, the 16-yard touchdown to Jack Endries, all coming out of bunch receiver sets. So we're starting to identify what Texas is most comfortable in. They had a 14 personnel grouping against San Jose State. 4 tight ends on the field at once. So that's how good they're feeling about that tight end room. That was not lip service from Steve Sarkisian. They feel like Jack Endries, Nick Townsend, Amari Winston, and Jordan Washington bring enough to the table where they're getting on the field in meaningful playing time. And let's see what Steve Sarkisian's got in store for this week. And this is true too, Naaman. Arch needs to continue to get comfortable, get out of his own head, and just play ball and trust his mechanics and not try to get too creative. We don't need to see any more of those open stance, slingshot, sidearm rockets. Put a little touch on the ball. Make sure those feet are set. Just play like he normally plays. And maybe we start seeing some more of those Mississippi State game type numbers, the 26 of 31 for 325, couple of touchdowns, no picks. See what old Archibald, see what he's got in his toolbox this week.
Yeah, you got to be disciplined at this point of the season, working up to SEC play. We saw that this Horns team, they've struggled with that, with the 12 penalties and all, go 2 for 12 on third downs. So you're not going to hit explosive plays all the time. And if you're going to add these tight ends, those guys, they have least chance of hitting the explosive plays because they're not as fast. But that's
although they kind of sneak. They kind of sneak out there. They leak and sneak. Gunnar Helm would always kind of sneak over on the sideline and be a safety valve. That's kind of what we saw with Amari Winston's catch. He was just kind of found his spot in the zone coverage about, 20 yards downfield.
Yeah. And I love what Sark said today about the explosive plays, because when people think explosive, they think you got to throw a 30-yard bomb that travels so far in the air, when you could do intermediate stuff and allow those yards after catch situations to come about. And that's to what you're referring to, like Mari Winston, think about Jordan Washington, all those guys, they're capable of finding those holes and finding those open spaces when teams play zones and just sitting. I mean, you have to have a really good football IQ for that, and Arch has to be on the same page as these guys. I'm not throwing Jack Endries in there because I feel good about Jack Endries and what he's brought to the table. The dude, for a tight end, got some wheels, man. And if he's hurt too, like don't throw him in there either. Like, you shouldn't be tripping over UTEP, the minors. Shouldn't be tripping over these guys. Sit out everyone you need to. Because I remember watching this past week, Chip, watching the San Jose State game, and Jack Endries, there was a play where, I thought he was hurt. And I don't know what happened, but he was, laying on his back, all right, something wrong. And then he bounced right up and continued to play. So don't put these guys in a situation that could come back to haunt them. Sark is doing a really good job with that already. But that makes me excited to see the other guys step up. Spencer Shannon, throw him in the mix. Nick Townsend, let's see if we get him some catches with some of those great blocks that he's putting to the table. And then now, if you don't have DeAndre Moore, which that seems more likely than not, there shouldn't be an excuse to get Ryan Wingo the ball. You know, they've been trying, but hopefully it comes more organically. Hopefully UTEP, they saw the film on San Jose State. They saw White Chocolate going crazy. So White Chocolate's going to get a lot more attention. We talked about this week. The more attention.
Ringo Lightning.
Yeah. Parker Livingston gets, Ryan Wingo should reap the benefits of that. So that's, you know, you talk about someone getting out of their head. Ryan Wingo, he's number one on that list. Him and Colin Simmons. You could put them in tied together, number one on that list. Sark talked about them pressing. I think this week we're going to see a better game from both of the number ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the game where Arch Manning needs to take another step. Took a big step last week. I know some people are like, oh, you know, all they could talk about was Wincegate, but there were 9 explosive passes. He did completely airmail Ryan Wingo out the back of the end zone.
That was open too.
It was open. He kind of chunked that one as far as he could throw it instead of, you know, putting that touch on it. But 9 explosive pass plays. Like, remember when Quinn was the quarterback, was like, man, when are there going to be explosive pass plays? Quinn's so inaccurate on 20-yard passes. You had 9 in the last game. Now, you also had a pick in the red zone. You also had a fumble in the red zone. Otherwise, the Longhorns would have covered. And Mac Brown and these Texas coaches will never say it publicly, but a cover makes the fan base happy. You cover, the fan base tends to be happy. They tend to not grouse as much because some of these fools are putting some jack on these games, like probably more than they should.
Yeah.
But
you heard Lane Kiffin talk about the spread in their game against Kentucky. That's what I need from Sark. I need Sark to let the folks know, man, hey, we trying to cover that spread, y'all. We got y'all. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with that?
Lane.
We're about to have our guy Lance is locked on in 30 minutes or 20 minutes. It's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So why can't the coaches talk about it? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Lane just says what people are thinking. He just says what people are thinking. It just cracks me up the way he does it.
Yeah, man. Joey Freshwater.
Sometimes he's, yeah, Joey Freshwater.
Joey Freshwater.
He might have been, he may or may not have been sneaking around the chicken coop with Nick Saban's daughter. You know what I'm saying?
You have to do it. You have to do the move. You have to do it. If she look good, if she around all the time, boss's daughter. If I'm Nick Saban, I'm welcoming that. You dig? Like that's not a slight. I'm not hating on Lane.
Except if Saban is annoyed by Lane, and we know he's annoyed by Lane.
Why you hire him?
Well, no, he's good offensive mind. He just has some personality tics that drove Saban a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But look, Lane, when he's on, he's as good as there is, kind of like Sark. When he's off, oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, that loss to Kentucky last year.
It's rough.
Ole Miss fans are never going to forget that loss. At home in Oxford to Kentucky, it cost them a playoff berth with the best team money could buy last year. This year's best team money could buy is Texas Tech and LSU. Maybe Oregon too. Texas probably 4th. But that's fans remember that stuff, especially those boosters who paying them salaries. Wait. We're paying this much, and we lost at home to Kentucky, who went 4-8. One of their 4 wins was over us. Ole Miss.
They don't even care about football.
Kentucky, right? They're waiting for basketball team.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a crusher. It's like, it's like me losing in the men's doubles.
Oh.
It's
Wait,
like,
did you get upsetted?
No. I shouldn't even have said that, because that match is still, that tournament's still going on. But I'm just like, I can't live with that stuff. Especially now that I'm hobbling around. I don't know. I might have to get some more plasma replacement.
Oh, man.
That stuff is expensive. It's not covered by insurance. Like, do I suck it up and just play on one leg, or do I get a little relief until I can get this surgery in February? But enough about me.
Yo, man.
Lane. See? Oh, so this is good. So James says Lane Kiffin is hella overrated. He's better as Joey Freshwater. The rumor has been that if something happens to Billy Napier, Lane wants the Florida job. And would Florida go sneaking around Ole Miss's chicken coop? Remember, Scott Strickland used to be the athletic director at Mississippi State, so there's no love lost between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Scott Strickland probably would love to give the old 1-2 piece and a biscuit to Ole Miss by taking their coach. But let's just see if Billy Napier can get this Titanic pointed above water again. Because he did it last year. Everybody wanted him gone. I was even talking to Hummer earlier today, and he's like, man, if Florida goes the wrong way, Napier might not be the coach when Texas plays him on October 4th. I'm like,
oh, come on, man. Come on. That game's October 4th. Come on.
I know.
They already came out and said Lane will be our coach.
I know, but you know what that means.
Billy Napier.
That means he's in trouble. But here's the thing. Florida does not have a president right now. So it's all up to Scott Strickland. And look, I like Billy Napier. I think he's a good coach. If that kid doesn't spit on the South Florida guy, Florida wins the game.
No, you got to spit on him. You got to.
But he had to go and spit and cost.
You got to make the point. You got to make the point.
Don't do this.
Carter.
Don't stir the pot.
Yo, shout out to Jalen Carter, man. Spit on Dak. Screw you, Dak. Get that thing nice and ready. Oh, yeah.
What was that sound effect again?
Yeah, get that thing nice and ready. Disgusting. That dude, Dak, threw that reel him in. Got him. Out the game. Their best player. Just like that before it even starts. Genius move, Dak Prescott playing chess out here. Yo, this is something interesting, too, that I've heard around, floating around these college football streets. Gruden's name has came up with Florida. And Gruden, on that Barstool show or all those things that he does with Barstool, he has voiced his love to get back into coaching, specifically college football. I don't think he wants to get back into the pros. I think he wants to teach again, recruit, be out there. All right.
So I have a love-hate relationship with John Gruden.
Same.
I think he's really smart. I think he has a problem relating to his players. I don't think they love playing for him. The only Super Bowl he won was with Tony Dungy's players. He won it right when he got to Tampa, and then he didn't win shizzle nizzle. And those emails.
Yeah, the emails aren't good.
Emails are not good.
Emails, he went to a dark place with the emails.
Like, how do you hire that?
Yeah.
And I know he loves Tennessee. I don't know if Jimmy Haslam would hire him or not. Jimmy's got Josh Heupel. But you're right. Gruden's been trying to get back in the college game. He tried to get in when Steve Patterson hired Charlie Strong. John Gruden. Remember Red McComb saying, I think we should hire John Gruden.
Red. What
Red.
up, Red? Miss you, Red. Miss you, dog.
Red owned the Spurs. He owned the Vikings.
Red was the man.
He was out here saying, we need to hire John Gruden. Charlie Strong's a good coordinator, not a coach. I mean, like the day.
I missed Red, man. Red just let him know. They're trying to say Red was racist. Red wasn't racist. Red just knows Charlie Strong wasn't it.
Red was right.
Sure. I don't care
Red was
how
right.
black Charlie Strong is. Yeah. So, this ain't about color. Trying to make it about color. No, Charlie Strong. I knew something was wrong with Charlie Strong, who got little man syndrome. He needed the stool. Remember that? For the podium? He always needed the stool. How tall was Charlie?
5'7".
5'7"?
No. 5'10".
You doing that athlete's height. You talking about when they say you 5'10", that really means 5'8".
He was 5'10".
5'8". You 6 foot. You 5'.
You trying to make him out to be like Prince. You trying to make him out like 5'3", 5'7" with heels. I'm like, come on, Zay.
Short.
Charlie was ripped.
Yo. I wouldn't want to see him in the alley. Hell no.
Those fingers?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see him in a dark alley, solo dolo. Absolutely not.
His finger was as long as a cigar.
What's he doing now? Where he at?
He's the linebackers coach on some NFL team.
CB, before I search, where Charlie at?
I'll tell you. Charlie.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's the D-line coach for the Buccaneers.
Good gig.
Yeah, he's working with with Todd Bowles.
Yeah, good gig. Todd Bowles knows defense.
Yes,
That's
he does. Yes. Charlie Strong. Charlie was so funny, man. Be like, Charlie, what's going on with your secondary? He's like, I know. I don't know what these fools are doing. We're coaching them, and then they don't listen. It was so funny.
That's not what any fan wants to hear.
No, it's not.
Are you serious, man?
Charlie, what's wrong with you linebackers? I know.
Beats me. Like
we thought they understood what we were teaching them.
Figure it out, coach. Figure it out, baby.
Come on, man.
No, that's Charlie's 65 as an assistant. Like that's love of the game, man.
Oh, he's 65?
Yeah.
I mean, black don't crack.
But yeah.
Black don't crack, baby.
And shout out to Deshaun Elliott. I'm all about who cares who your boss is? Who cares who the guy that's in charge and what he's doing? If they dollars fine as hell, spit at that. Go spit your game. Go show your rap. Because that could be the next boo. That could be the next Mrs. to your mister.
Wasn't her name Haley Strong?
I don't know. But I like that. Those dudes, like people, Lane and Saban, like those guys, I hired you for a reason. I recruited you for a reason. You're in my program. You're a good man. So if you happen to want to date my daughter, that should be allowed. No guy should be salty of that you hire or that you bring in to play for you. You know, I hate that Saban story. That's where Miss Terry, she should have said something. She'd be like, yo, Nick, for one, our daughter's a grown-ass woman. You have no say. You hire them. This is your fault, by the way. You didn't have to hire them, but you want to win games. It's not his fault that he's charismatic, that Lane Kiffin's got a it factor to him, to the ladies. It ain't his fault. Let it happen. That could have been something special. We'll never know. Because Nick Saban was in his feelings and wanted to ruin his daughter's life by trying to tell Lane or tell her who she can and cannot see. It's toxic, Nick. Come on. And he could have changed. Nick Saban could have changed. What you about to show me on bootleg? That's Haley Strong?
Yeah, that's Charlie Strong's daughter, Haley.
Like, makes sense. Lovely woman right there. Sean Elliott had every right. And I'm sure he went about it in a very respectful way. Yeah, very respectful. Hey, coach, you know I honor you. I look up to you as a mentor. That Chip shows the photo of Charlie Strong's daughter to the folks listening on the app. As a mentor, role model. I'm just trying to be in your family, coach. Can I have the privilege of dating your daughter? I'm sure it went just like that.
Well, listen, you need truth tellers in your life. That's what Rick Barnes always used to tell me. You need truth tellers in your life. You need people around you who are going to tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. The truth.
Yeah.
So make sure you're surrounding yourself with truth tellers.
Yeah, I would tell Rick Barnes the truth. You squandered a lot of really good Texas teams that should have went to the Final Four that didn't. That's what I would tell Rick.
2009.
Oh.
Jordan Hamilton.
06. Like even that team that got blown out by Duke, but still made it to the Elite Eight.
Oh, yeah.
They make it that far. Yeah, I think
LaMarcus, PJ Tucker.
Booby
Gibson.
Paulino.
Ken Paulino. Brad Buckman.
That team's going to win. That's a Final team. That's a Final Four team. And they shouldn't get blown out by Duke. I hope Sean Miller, I know we're getting off topic, but this is Wild Out Thursday. It is what it is. Sean Miller needs to show this 2026 Texas basketball team that ass whooping that they took from Duke back in 06, where J.J. Redick dropped 31. Not 31, 41 in college. You know how crazy that is in the 2000s, dropping 41?
He had like 12 threes, for God's sake.
Oh my gosh, that jumper was so pretty. That jumper just couldn't stop him. Yeah, show him that, because you know you'll be in Charlotte for that Duke-Texas game, which I know you're salty about it being a neutral site game because you wanted to be at Cameron Indoor. I feel bad for you for that. But, hey, Charlotte's cool too. But still, that's a big-time game. Like, you got to let these guys know, like, hey, this is what Duke thinks of you. They think you're just a football school.
J.J. Redick was 9 of 16 from 3. 13 of 24 and 9 of 16 from 3, 6 of 6 from the line, 4 rebounds, 3 steals. Gringo Lightning with 3 steals, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul, and 41 points.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. That That and Carmelo Anthony's performance in the Final Four, those are the best performances against Texas that I've ever seen.
In that game, Texas 3-point assassin, AJ Abrams, 0 of 3.
Yeah, he was a freshman.
Daniel Gibson, 6 of 11. Ken Paulino was 6 of 9. PJ Tucker was 6 of 14. They were just trading baskets. That was the problem. And they were trading 2s for 3s. Duke shot 53.4% that game.
Yeah.
But they shot even better from 3, 54.5% from 3, 12 of 22. And they hit 23 of 24 free throws.
What was the score of that game?
97-66.
Good Lord.
And Texas was number 2 in the country. Duke was number 1. That was a 1 versus 2.
1 versus 2. New Jersey at that rinky-dink old Nets arena.
East Rutherford.
That arena was one of the worst arenas at the time in the league.
It was terrible.
I hope they demolish that place, but that's a big reason why they went to Brooklyn. They were like, we can't play here anymore. If we're not going to get a new place here in Jersey, we got to go somewhere else. And Jay-Z came along. Jay-Z looked around and was like, yo, this ain't it, y'all. This ain't it. We can't do this no more. And Brooklyn they went. But
Brooklyn, hottest part of New York. I mean, like from a growth standpoint, that arena helped revitalize Brooklyn. Now Brooklyn's all swanky.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. Sal's like, try taking the Port Authority out to that dump in East Rutherford.
What was that place called? It started with a C.
Yeah, it was what?
Wasn't that Airlines?
Yeah, Continental Airlines.
Meadowlands.
Yeah, all I remember it was East Rutherford. I think I tried to block out all the rest.
Izod Center, that's what it was called now, but it wasn't called that back then.
I remember going to the Port Authority. I took a bus out there.
Jeez.
Let's see. It was okay. Now it's called Meadowlands Arena. It's closed. What was it before that, though?
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that place closed a long time ago. It was so dated, you know. And there's some places that are old as hell, but still have that like majestic feel, like Lambeau Field or something like that, or Fenway Park. That Izod Center or whatever, Continental, something, I don't know.
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's worth finding, but I'm trying to find Continental Airlines Arena.
Continental Airlines Arena. See, I knew it was airline something. Good find, Chip. Yeah, I knew it was. That. Wow. Now
it hosted the 1996 Final Four.
Wow. Now they had some.
That was the last Final Four to be held in an arena specifically built for basketball. Then it all moved to football stadiums. Because in 98, they played at the Alamo Dome.
Yeah.
That was when Kentucky beat Utah. Rick Majerus.
Andre Miller.
Keith Van Horn.
Keith Van Horn, boy.
Man.
Yeah, talk about a hooper. Keith Van Horn, that's one of those guys where they talk about if he was in a different era, like now or in the last 10 years, Keith Van Horn would have thrived. the NBA back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they weren't ready for all that bag work for somebody that size. They wanted that person, that power forward, 6'9" guy back to the basket. That wasn't Keith Van Horn's game. Like, and I'm sure that other things happened, injuries and stuff, why he didn't last. But yeah, that wasn't Keith Van Horn's game. I thought Keith Van Horn was good. That Utah team was good. Doliak, Andre Miller, Van Horn.
Oh, Tom Hicks, the regent, aka owner of Texas Athletics back in the late 90s. He wanted Rick Majerus as the basketball coach, not Rick Barnes.
It's crazy.
And Majerus, the Lost Dodds, was worried. The guy lived in a hotel.
Yeah, it's grimy.
In Utah. Like, he didn't have a house.
Yeah.
He lived in a hotel in Salt Lake City.
It's grimy, man. I mean, it sounds fun. If you could do it, low key, it does sound kind of fun. I don't know how long I'd be able to do it, but I could stay at a hotel for about 2 weeks. Room service. They come in, clean the room. You don't got to clean ever, really. It's just I get a little claustrophobic. Like, that closet, I'm sure you didn't have much in it because you can't have much in it.
Right. So CB, the world's greatest volunteer producer in the history of radio, asked, was I at the Duke game in December 05 because of the Heisman ceremony? Yes. I was in New York for the Heisman and parlayed that into the basketball. And I'll never forget that. Never forget that. Heisman.
Hey, that's a rough day overall.
Yeah, that was rough.
I mean,
but I knew the minute that they announced Reggie Bush, I was like, Texas just won the national championship.
Yeah.
Like, I said that.
Yeah.
And wrote it and said, I just saw the look on Vince Young's face. He's disgusted. He genuinely thought he was going to win it. And Texas just won the national championship in football.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Because I've had folks on here comment saying, yo, Zay, that bulletin board material, that ain't a thing. Depends on the guy or the gal.
Yeah.
Like,
look at Michael Jordan. Look at Tom Brady. Those guys kept receipts from everything. Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many stories about Jordan. I heard one the other day. They're out playing golf, the Olympics, and him and Chuck Daly and some other guy, they're playing golf and they play 18 and Jordan's like, I'm going to go play another 18. And Chuck Daly's like, why don't you get some rest? He's like, I'm going to score 50 tonight. And he did. He played 36 holes of golf and then scored 50.
It's something like that. He didn't score no 50 in the Olympics, but
it was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna put up 40.
Man, that dream team, they all could have been playing 36 holes of golf, and it still would have been the same defeats on the rest of the country in 92. They were so above everyone else. But yeah, MJ, that's how he got down. Hell, I remember 2016 NBA Finals. Klay Thompson said something about Bron, like, oh, he needs to quit crying or something like that, when Cavs were down 3-1. And yeah, we know what happened after that. So you gotta be careful which bear you poke, man.
Sal, what are you doing? Sal says, anyone here plays Survivor football? I have Green Bay tonight. Isn't Green Bay playing the Commanders?
Yeah.
Like, is Jaden Daniels going to be on the field?
Yep. He'll be there. Ready to go. It's going to be a good game, man. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I don't like betting against Jaden Daniels. Let's see if we can find you another.
What's the line?
Well, no, it's Survivor, so they just have to win.
Right, I know that, but I'm asking what's the line anyway.
The line is Green Bay -3.5. Let's see here. Gosh, the biggest line. I don't get this. Buffalo is -6.5 at the New York Jets. I don't like that. Baltimore. You don't want to use Baltimore at home against Cleveland?
Them
What you
division matchups.
need?
Them division matchups. Always scary, no matter who it is. That sounds good.
I mean,
Or
you know what? Green Bay. Jordan Love's playing pretty good. Jaden Daniels is scary. Jaden Daniels is a home wrecker.
just a smooth criminal, man.
He's a smooth criminal, man.
You just be smiling out on the field, laughing. I'm like, bro, this isn't that. I get it. It's a kid's game. You shouldn't be having this much fun. Do you realize your career could end at any moment playing this violent ass game that you're just smiling and cheesing about? That's how you know he's a demon. That's how you know something ain't right there. And if he was on my team, I would love every part of it because I need those guys. He was smiling last year against your Lions. Just laughing, smiling,
terrible.
throwing the ball 50 yards down the field, picking up third and shorts with his legs, man. He's just a demon. One of those guys that is born to play quarterback and is the modern NFL quarterback to the T.
Let's see here. A man, Lance.
Yeah, ain't Lance supposed to be on? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you don't gotta remind him, CB. You know, he knows. He knows this year is going, this year it might be a little different than past.
What?
Your Lions.
Yeah.
Tough ass NFC North.
Yeah. Yeah. Pack destroyed my Lions. I mean, listen. The Packers, I think, are legit, but so is Jaden Daniels. That's my problem on that. I just don't, Jaden Daniels also destroyed my Lions. So I got some PTSD on both of these quarterbacks. But, I mean, the game is in Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Green Bay's favored by 3.5. You don't like the Bengals at home against the Jaguars? You don't like what about Baltimore over Cleveland? Baltimore's at home. Let's bring in
Lance, yeah.
Lance Taylor of lanceslock.com. LT.
Hey,
what do you do?
fellas.
How we doing?
I'm good, man. How are y'all?
Good, LT.
So are we talking survivor pools?
Yeah, Survivor. So we got a gentleman, Sal, who wants to pick the Packers tonight.
Ooh, that's ballsy.
That's ballsy against Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I'm like, what about Baltimore at home against the Browns?
Yeah. Baltimore at home. Like, you can only use these teams one time.
I know.
So,
you want to save them. What about Dallas at home against the Giants?
Well, here was my advice to a lot of people this year going into that. I said, just fade at least early on New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think the team's terrible. I cannot believe it ended up being a one-possession game last week. I know Brock Purdy is questionable, so that might be a little dangerous there.
Yeah, because it's Mac Jones, who I'm still a buyer of Mac Jones. No one else is.
Yeah. I agree. I still think Mac Jones would be fine. So I feel good about that. My Rams should be okay, but I'm scared to death just because the Titans defense turned over Bo Nix 3 times. And, Cam Ward at any minute can have one of these breakout games, and going West Coast to East, I think is a little more difficult. I'll be at that game on Sunday, so I don't feel outstanding about that game. I do think
what game are you going to be at?
The Rams and the Titans.
Nice.
Yeah. The Ravens aren't going to lose. So, if you just want to play it week by week, I would, I feel better about that than the Bills at the Jets. I was very impressed with Justin Fields, and 32 points on the Steelers. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, who's going to be the worst team in the NFL?
The Saints.
Yeah.
100%.
Because of Spencer Rattler.
Well, I think they're just rebuilding everywhere. Kamara's still good. Chris Olave is pretty good, but I just think the Saints are going to be terrible. And I don't know what you get with Kellen Moore as the head coach, but with Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck, who ended up closing out. Well, I guess he didn't play on Sunday, but in preseason, I think they're going to be terrible. I really do.
What the hell ever happened to Michael Thomas?
He battled injuries. There was a minute. I think Michael Thomas was one of the top 3, 4, 5 receivers in football. He was outstanding. I remember going over there to New Orleans in 2018 when the Rams, Michael Thomas ended up burning. Oh my gosh, who was playing corner for the Rams at that point? Oh my God, it wasn't Jalen Ramsey. It was really good corner before Jalen Ramsey. Anyway, they ended up winning by 10 and 18, and that's when the Rams went back and beat them in the NFC Championship game with that really, really questionable call. But Michael Thomas was fantastic that game. He was a stud back in the day.
And then he just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
I had him on my fantasy team, and we were rolling, and then we weren't.
Yeah.
It was over. All right. So LT, a lot of people are, they heard you on your show. Sounds like you're not buying Texas.
I'm not buying Texas. I just don't think Texas is going to be as good as everyone thinks. Arch ended up 19 of 30. I thought he was better, but it was San Jose State. I don't know. When Texas is whole, when you've got Baxter and Wisner running the football and, these receivers are going to get better. I think Texas defense is really, really good. I just, what I said on my show, I believe at this point right now, Ty Simpson's a better quarterback than Arch Manning, and everybody thought that was crazy. I just don't know how good Arch is. I really don't.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got to get out of his head.
Yeah, he hasn't blown me away. When you're just looking at, based on competition, Bo Prabula, and I had Joel Klatt hung up on us the other day. I was like, I think half of the SEC quarterbacks right now might be better than Arch. I'm not saying that will be the case at the end of the year. I'm just talking about in this moment. And he's like, well, start the list, go. And I was like, Bo Prabula, and he was like, I'm out. And I'm like, dude, Bo Prabula, cocky dude. Saw him a little bit last year come in spots for Penn State, but man, against Kansas, what they did at the end of that game, and I know it's a Kansas defense, Bo Prabula has been really, really good.
Yeah.
He's completing 79% of his passes.
You'll take that.
Yeah. And, and say what you want about Ty Simpson, it was La Monroe. But Ty Simpson still went 17 of 17, and that's more – look, it doesn't matter. Texas wins the game by 31, but I expect more of that kind of performance against the San Jose State for a guy that's been in the system for 3 years. Arch is supposed to – I wasn't the one that said it. Everybody anointed Arch as he's going to win the Heisman. They're going to win a national championship. He's going to be the next great Manning. And, it's early. I just haven't seen it yet. I fully expect when you are coached by Steve Sarkisian, and I can't believe how sensitive Sarkisian was on the Arch questioning. Like,
how was that?
That's how you took it? You took him he was sensitive?
Oh my God. He was just waiting for somebody to ask that question. Who told you that, Arch? Did Arch tell you that? Why can't you just come out before the press conference and say, hey, look, I know you guys are going to ask about it. Arch is 100%. He's fine. And like, we couldn't figure out what he was talking about. Did he have the runs? I mean, what was he alluding to? Did Arch have like an intestinal problem?
It was a weird joke. It was a bad joke.
Because now every time someone sees Arch Manning wince when he throws the football, they're going to think of someone taking a dump.
Yeah.
And that's tough on Arch.
That's tough on Arch. And look, I mean, and the unfortunate thing is we're not going to know anything about Arch again even if Arch went 24 of 25 this week against UTEP, like, who cares?
Right.
I'm ready for this thing to heat up, and let's really get another test for Arch. Let's even get a test for Arch at home. Let's get a Missouri. Let's get a Bo Prabula versus Arch. I just want to see a step-up game outside of San Jose State and UTEP after how disastrous the offensive performance was against Ohio State.
What you want? He's up against Malachi Nelson he's a former Trojan.
Yeah, I know. And I had Malachi week 1, and that UTEP team is terrible. Yeah, just not good.
Terrible? Their defense leads the nation in sacks and tackles for loss.
Yeah, well, I didn't see it when I had them because they didn't cover for me. That was week 1. So I don't know what they did last week. By the way, we are crushing it right now at Lance's Lock. So jump on board, win with us. How about this? We completed NFL week 1 undefeated, 6-0.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Big time.
Thursday night winner, Friday night winner, 3-0 on Sunday, Monday night winner, 6-0. I'm staying away from tonight, though, man. That Commanders and Packers game is too difficult.
Yeah.
I told him he didn't like it, but I said this might be a preview of the NFC Championship.
Well, I don't like that either, Zay. I know he's got hat on. I told you guys Detroit was taking a step back, and they got that dick whipped on Sunday. And that was my favorite game of the day was Green Bay, and that was a statement game. But I'm hoping my Rams.
You don't have to say it with so much relish.
Yeah, well, I told you.
Put a little mustard and ketchup on there and not so much relish.
I just cannot believe how different the offense, plagiarize. Whatever Ben Johnson did, let's try to keep those same play calls. Let's try to get the ball in space to big-time playmakers. And I just didn't see any of that. And I think Green Bay's really good, and I think Jordan Love's going to continue to get better. And, you can make an argument Green Bay's got one of the top 3, 4, 5 defenses in football, but boy, that was a statement. I mean, outside of the comeback against Baltimore, where I went to sleep, I don't know if you guys stayed up Sunday night, but 15-point game, 8.5 to go, I was like, okay, I'm going to shut it off. Like, Baltimore has really impressed me. And then I wake up in the middle of the night to grab a snack after one of them sativas that I popped. And I checked my phone, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, I went to sleep on this, and I maybe missed what would be the best comeback in the NFL this year in week 1. But, yeah, I didn't get to see it. It sucked.
Did you watch you have YouTube TV? Did you just watch it the next morning?
No, I do have YouTube, but I hate – this is a thing about me. Like, I'll go back sometimes if something popped on, like one of those classic games from the 70s, just to watch, like, the neck rolls and, the midriffs and all that kind of stuff. Like, I hate watching sports because I know what's going to happen. Now, as soon as I say that, I've probably seen Jaws 100 times, and I know what's going to happen. Jaws, he's going to blow up at the end. Roy Snyder's going to say, smile, you son of a bitch, and he's not going to miss on his 4th shot. He's going to blow the tank up, and the shark is going to blow in a million pieces. So I know what's going to happen there, but I can watch movies over and over again, but I don't like watching sports knowing the outcome.
Interesting.
Okay, so it was a weird week in college football. You had a bunch of teams not look good. Like Georgia, can they run the ball? Clemson.
Well, more so can Georgia throw the football deep. Like, they have protected Gunnar Stockton. Now, Austin P, before that Marshall, completely revamped Marshall. That's not any good. But only a 22-point win against Austin P. That was the narrowest margin of victory by a top 5 SEC team versus a non-FBS team since 2012. I mean, that was way too tight. He had to throw the ball 34 times. Very weird. He's only averaging 5.3 yards per attempt. They have got to take more shots on the perimeter. But you look at no Jermod McCoy, no Ricky Gibson III. Both cornerbacks are going to be out for Tennessee. I cannot believe how much hype Tennessee is getting. I think Aguilar has looked really good. but they've played a Syracuse team that's not even close to the Syracuse team last year, Fran Brown's year one. And then they played East Tennessee State, I think was who Tennessee played last week. Am I right on that? Hell, I don't even know. Anyway, they played somebody that doesn't really matter. So we haven't seen anything yet. Now, on the same thing, you could say that about, Georgia hasn't played anybody. But I know Kirby has owned Josh Heupel. And I think I've told you guys this story. So Kirby has won 8 straight in this series, and all 8 of those by 14 plus. His first year in 2016, I went to that game in Athens against Tennessee. Now, I'm known as a guy that leaves at halftime, but I'll never forget, I was out there. I made the mistake of wearing black that day. And I like to go neutral to a lot of these games. I don't want to get, especially if my team ain't playing, I don't want to get in the middle of anything you're bitching and yelling about and all that kind of stuff. Got nothing to do with me. So I'm sitting in the sun and I'm drinking bourbon. Hot September day, the sun's beating down. I'm like, I'm going to watch the rest of this in a bar. So I go into a bar, and this is a true story. DirecTV goes out in the city of Athens. They had and it was when Jacob Eason was quarterback, and he hit Riley Ridley, Calvin Ridley's little brother, for the touchdown. And they went ahead with like 30 seconds to go. Place goes nuts. Then DirecTV goes out. So literally anybody that was on DirecTV, all the tailgates, all the bars, nobody had the Georgia-Tennessee game. So we're just standing around, and I assume the game's over. Everybody's partying. Well, there's these 2 Tennessee guys in the middle of the bar, and they got their phone. They start going nuts. Nobody realized that Josh Dobbs hit Jawan Jennings up top 48 yards to end the game. People start throwing bottles, and it was just a melee. But that was the last time Georgia lost to Tennessee. And I didn't get to see it, and I was in Athens, and nobody else got to see it. But it's been a long time. My point there is Kirby has dominated the series. And now I can get Georgia at only -3 in Neyland with an unproven Tennessee. I feel pretty good about Georgia in this spot. Gunnar Stockton, unseen. You guys saw him second half against Texas, SEC championship game. Georgia's got weapons. Zachariah Branch, they bring him over. They paid him a lot of money from USC. He's only got 6 touches. I fully expect he will have some opportunities in this game. Oscar Delp, really good tight end. Nate Frazier running the football. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be more surprised if Tennessee, as a 3-point favorite, wins the game outright than Georgia winning 14 plus again. I feel Georgia pops them, and, it's the same old Georgia-Tennessee, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right, Lance, you talked about the next game Arch has that's going to be competitive, and we assume that's Florida, but now Florida a little different than they were a week ago after the South Florida loss. What do you think of the Gators with that loss, and how do you think they're going to do heading to Death Valley?
I love Florida in this spot, and it's hard to say that based on how bad they looked against South Florida. And I just thought the play call down the stretch, when you've got South Florida, in a situation, they're playing in a hostile environment, they really hadn't done anything offensively all day. And on that final possession, you throw the football 2 times instead of bleeding that clock. You punt it away. They drive down. They walk it off. South Florida, obviously one of the great stories of college football. Alex Golish at 41 years old is getting a ton of love, much deserved. DJ Lagway, 73rd in QBR right now. I think he's going to play better this week, and I think the difference will be the Florida defense. They haven't beaten LSU in Baton Rouge since 2016, but last year in the win in the Swamp, they held LSU to less than 3 yards per carry. I think much the same. I think Caden Durham's going to have a hard time running the football. I think it's all going to be on Garrett Nussmeier, and ultimately – I think Florida finds a way as a 7.5-point underdog to win this game outright. Everybody's talking up LSU. And, again, what do we really know about LSU after watching Clemson get down 16 at home to Goose Crowder and Troy as 33.5-point favorite? They were a 33.5-point favorite, and Goose Crowder, who turned the football over 3 times on Saturday in Death Valley, still had them up 16 late in the first half. It's crazy.
A&M Notre Dame.
Marcel Reed wants to prove he can throw the football. Going back to last year, he didn't start this game last year. And, they lose by 10. You guys remember this game well. CJ Carr, I think, is going to ultimately be an upgrade from what you had with Riley Leonard and Sam Hartman. Unfortunately, I think for Notre Dame, you had an early bye. And so after the loss to Miami, you couldn't get right back out there and get things right and get a little momentum for CJ Carr. You had to sit around for 2 weeks. And now you're hosting an A&M team that comes in here really hungry, and there's no margin of error for Notre Dame. I really believe if they lose this game, I think they're done at 0-2. I think they could go, win the final 10 games, 10-game winning streak, 10-2, and I don't know if they can get there. Marcel Reed, though, wants to prove he can throw the football. Going back to last year, this was going to be my point. 3 passing touchdowns in each of his last 3 games. I think he's that one quarterback that nobody is talking about in the SEC that could be really good. And I think Mike Elko's a hell of a coach. It didn't look like it last year down the stretch. Didn't look like it against Texas. I got a sneaky feeling that A&M might be a live dog in this spot, getting 6.5. They might be able to go into South Bend and win this game outright.
That's what Chris Hummer said too. Interesting.
Yeah, we're having a different conversation if A&M wins that game.
Yeah.
Oh,
much.
hype train.
Much. I mean, the damn SEC is so freaking brutal. Florida now, every 8 of their next 10 opponents are ranked. And you just look around the SEC at all of these schedules, and it is literally, in my opinion, going to be almost impossible moving forward for SEC teams to go undefeated in a regular season. I just don't know how you do it. The NFL, you don't see it. We almost saw it with the Patriots in 2007, and ultimately they lose in the Super Bowl. But when you look at, there's just such a difference now. Kentucky's bad, but Mississippi State, you've seen the improvement already. I don't know any games that are just give me's. People ask me, what's Alabama look like moving forward on their schedule? And I said, well, they're going to be favored in every game outside of the trip to Athens in a couple of weeks. So they'll be favored in 9 of their final 10 games, but they're not going to be really favored double digits. And you guys remember there was a time where Alabama under Nick Saban, it was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. It was 28-35 at half. The game's already over. I mean, they would go out first drive within 2 or 3 plays. They scored. You're just not going to get those anymore. These are much like the NFL. You're going to get a lot of one-possession games. Week in, week out, we're going to get upsets. Kentucky had every opportunity last week, and we had the Wildcats against Ole Miss. Bad non-call, PI call for Kentucky going against Kentucky last week that went in the favor of Ole Miss. But, Ole Miss, the 2 early interceptions from Austin Simmons, they could have lost that game. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Arkansas beats Ole Miss this week. I just – Vanderbilt on the road against number 10 South Carolina, they're only catching 4 points. I think Vanderbilt probably wins. The SEC is a damn brutal gauntlet right now.
Yeah, this could be upset Saturday.
Yeah, and we had some pretty good upsets last week. People are looking at, outside of the SEC, Georgia Tech over Clemson.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other ones that we might have.
Well, you got South Florida, Miami.
Zay, I said this. I got burned last week on this game because I am a contrarian. I didn't think that Florida was 17 or 18 points better, but I just saw all of the money continue to come in on the Bulls. And so I got bullish on the Bulls, and I ended up playing Florida and just kicked myself in the ass. So I'm not going to fall into that trap again. I think Miami probably wins this game going away. I mean, if South Florida – if they were to win this game, they are the 3rd team since the AP started the preseason poll in 1950 to win their first 3 games of the season against ranked teams. This would be one of the more fascinating, incredible stories we've ever seen if they were to start 3-0 against Boise, Florida on the road, and Miami on the road. And even if they lose this game, I mean, they're playing with house money now. As long as they win the rest of them, they're in. I mean, they are your team. They can lose this game, and they probably don't fall out of the top 25 as long as they don't get embarrassed. But I do think, and I'm not sold. I mean, we've seen Cristobal 2 years ago started 4-0. They fell apart down the stretch. Last year, they started 9-0. The defense let them down. They lost multiple games. I'm not buying Miami. I like Carson Beck. I don't think this Miami team is as good as last year's Miami team. The defense is much improved. I don't think the offense is as good, but I think they're going to beat South Florida. But I'm going to be pulling for the Bulls.
You think South Florida covers the 18.5?
Okay, so Chip, I don't, but I'm not going to fall back into the trap of laying the 18.5 again this week. So with me sitting this one out, Miami probably will cover. Do I think Miami is 18, 19 points better than South Florida? No, but it's going to be difficult for South Florida to continue this week in, week out.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Bama.
Ass whipping.
Ass whipping. So Bama covers.
I like Luke Fickell, and I think Luke Fickell was a heck of a coach at Cincinnati. He just doesn't have the players in Wisconsin. And, they're going to be starting a backup quarterback. I don't think it matters. They're Billy Edwards, their number one really isn't a good quarterback. But Wisconsin coming on the road here, interesting. Only the second time they've ever played in the state of Alabama. We'll be in Tuscaloosa tomorrow, broadcasting from a place called Galatzan. It's right by the stadium. It will be so wild. Our friends at Bud Light, we're doing a big show there. I assume there's going to be 1 million Wisconsin fans just knowing coming in they're going to get beat, but just wanting to see an SEC campus because this is only the second time they've ever played in the SEC in the regular season on the road. So an opportunity to go to Tuscaloosa and see one of the great venues in all of college football. But I think Alabama, you're going to get, I know it was La Monroe, but 77-0 is still 77-0. I think you'll get more of that Alabama than you got week 1 against Florida State. And I'm still very interested to see how good Florida State is. They've rushed for over 700 yards in their first 2 games. I think Florida State is much improved. But I think Alabama is so much better than they looked in week 1. And I could ultimately, completely be wrong. But I think the effort that people were dogging Alabama out for. And you're guys like Bray Hubbard. Hey, man, I got to own this. I saw the film. You saw the film. Moving forward, this ain't going to happen anymore. So I think internally the message has been laid down, and Alabama's going to have to go out and prove it now, and their schedule gets really difficult. But I think they're going to whip Wisconsin. And Wisconsin, Luke Fickell, 0-6 against ranked teams at Wisconsin. They're 2-6 against the spread their last 8 games as dogs. This just lines up for Alabama -21 to pop them.
So no chance of an upset. Louisville over Mizzou and Bo Perbula.
Louisiana over Missouri, 0 chance.
Oh, sorry, Louisiana.
Yeah. No.
Not Louisville.
And this is another guy. He is very, very difficult to like. And I have
Drink.
Yeah. And I've said Drink looks like the guy, and I might have said it on y'all's show that, the wife, she's got the designer shade. She's already walked up the boardwalk, and he's carrying all the beach toys, and he's burned. And he just, he looks like a freaking loser, but the guy can coach, man. Drink can flat out coach. And everybody's like, man, he got handed this SEC job after going 11-1 with a ready-made Appalachian State job. Dude can coach. Say what you want. Drinkowitz can coach. He really can. And this Missouri team, when you start to look at the schedule, they don't need letdowns against teams like Louisiana. But I think when it's all said and done, again, the SEC is so difficult. But, Missouri could end up winning 9 or 10 games again.
What about my SMU Mustangs?
I thought Kevin Jennings looked good. I thought the defense looked bad. Sawyer Robertson is a flat-out stud. And I don't know what's going on with Aranda, and a lot of people believe he saved his job. Well, he saved his job for this week, but his defense is going to give up 1,000 yards the next time they play anybody relevant. I think SMU's good again. You could just see it on Rhett Lashley's face, like, how in the hell did we blow this game? And that had to be a difficult loss for you, Chip. I don't like playing 11 o'clock games. I played 3 this past week. I was lucky to survive going 2 in one of those games, but one of the games I had was Baylor. I thought Baylor would go for 2 on that final possession instead of going to overtime. But, man, that was a hell of a comeback. Hell of a comeback from Baylor. And their offense is legitimate. They just don't have any defense. So, they're going to be fun to watch week in and week out. But I don't think that defense is a defense that's going to allow them to really be in contention in the Big 12.
What are your thoughts on the Oklahoma-Michigan game? Obviously, John Mateer played his ass off, and he does a lot for that offense, almost everything for that offense. But I thought they were really conservative with Bryce Underwood for Michigan, and they would have let him rip it a little more. The outcome might have been different, but you end up getting the dub. Your thoughts on that, Lance?
Zay, I don't know if I told you guys that when we get to the Red River Shootout, Texas is going to be 3-2. And 5-0 Oklahoma. We do our power rankings every week in the SEC, and I have Oklahoma this week as the second best team in the SEC. Now, a lot of football to play. I'm just talking about in the moment, watching that crowd, watching how the players responded to Venables, watching how improved the defense is, and John Mateer is legitimate. And he is going to get more and more comfortable when you've got a guy finally on the perimeter. And
he's going to get killed.
He
19 carries in the SEC. He's dead man walking.
19 carries. Yeah, look, he can't do that week in, week out. Jay Knott, who you paid a lot of money to come in the portal from Cal, is got to get better. And look, I know he's just getting his legs under him, only 4 carries last week, but Ott is going to be key. If Oklahoma really is going to take that next step, that's going to be key. But I thought they did everything they needed to. Bryce Underwood, I think, is still going to be a stud. I know he was 9 of 24, but I was very impressed with the fact that Oklahoma, you're -2 in turnovers, you still win by double digits, and Oklahoma's -4 in turnovers through 2 games. So 2 things they got to clean up: the turnovers, and they have to establish a couple of backs in that backfield to take the pressure off Mateer. But if they do that, Oklahoma's a damn good team.
All right, so you got one more?
Yeah, anything on the NFL front, Lance?
I haven't really taken the deep dive into the NFL this week. So just going back last week, 6-0. So we're going to be good. We're going to be prepared. We're going to be ready to roll. We have just been focusing. We do have a play tonight, NC State and Wake Forest. Jump on board and win with us right there. We're already winning in college. We've been killing it. Major League Baseball, again, NFL undefeated. You can buy a daily, weekly, monthly package, the football season in the entirety of it. Year 12 here. We're going to win for you. Free play every single day. Lance'sLock.com.
LT, you're the best, man. Let's do it again next week.
Hey, I love somebody just said in the chat, where'd y'all find this Aggie? I'm not an Aggie.
What?
the Aggie cult? Yeah, no. I do think Elko is a better than advertised coach. And I think Reed could be kind of a hidden gem. We'll see. But I don't care what the Aggies do.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it could be upset Saturday.
Could be. We hope so. Yeah. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Look forward to it next week. Let's win some games. Lance'sLock.com.
Lance'sLock.com, baby.
See you, boys.
Appreciate you, LT. All right. So you go. Get the picks in at Lance'sLock.com. Let's get a couple mentions. We already had a great conversation about the Sleep Cycle Center. Guys, just go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study. And when you're ready for the big screen of your dreams, only one call to make in Austin, Texas. To my man, Tom McKay, who's been doing all things audio and visual and is going to bring you the best price on big screens. So just call him at 255-8678 in Austin, Texas. Let Tom and his crew bring everything to you. And of course, Cover 3. You heard it. We got ball games tonight. Get over to Cover 3. I mean, my man Tiger Brown brought me some Parmesan fries from Cover 3 last night. I was so thankful because I love me some Parmesan fries from Cover 3. Love the brick chicken and mac and cheese. Love the Chop House burger. Love the brunch on the weekends, the breakfast quesadilla, and the do-it-yourself Bloody Mary bar. I know y'all love it when I talk about the muffin tops at Cover 3. Not the whole muffin, just the top, the best part, with all the cinnamon and sugar on it. Yeah, Cover 3 Anderson, Cover 3 Round Rock. Get it on. All right. So, Zay, for the chip shot today, I'm going to get into my picks and predictions because I am going to be at my wife's mercy tomorrow.
All right, so let's get to the right call before, because we'll do the picks together.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to do them together. So let's get to the right call first, because I got some things to throw at you before we get to those picks. Before that, though, shout out to Covert BK, family owned and operated. They are the best. And if you don't want to take my word for how great Covert BK is, listen to these fine folks at Covert BK.
You see Covert everywhere. It's that personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction. The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Chip. So Adam Silver, commissioner of the National Basketball Association, he did a press conference the other day this week. He talked about the Kawhi situation a little bit, saying that he had no idea what aspiration was. And the NBA, they are doing all types of background checks, all types of research about the Clippers and that Kawhi Leonard situation that is getting messier by the day. But that's not what this is about.
All right, real quick, did you see the owner's interview with Ramona Shelburne?
Yes.
I wasn't buying it. Were you?
I wasn't buying it either. Oh, Steve. Steve was like, yo, I have no idea what's going on here. Like, come on, Steve. Come on, bruh. Because Pablo Torre's being very petty. The one who broke this story. Like, he will continue to do his research, and he did some this week. A lot of that stuff, I got to do more research to that because a lot of those words and the things that he was talking about, I have no idea what he's talking about. But they breaking the rules is what Pablo Torre's saying. I'm trying to pay Kawhi Leonard with this whole aspiration thing, and we'll see how that goes. But this is what I found troubling, Chip. Adam Silver was asked about the cost of fans trying to watch their favorite teams every night and the different streaming services and all just the loopholes you have to go through in order to watch NBA basketball the way that the fan wants to watch NBA basketball. And Adam Silver's response was so odd and just out of left field to where he might have to apologize for what he said. Take a listen.
There's a huge amount of our content that people can essentially consume for free. I mean, this is very much a highlights-based sport, so, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, any service, the New York Times for that matter, to the extent that your content is not behind a paid firewall. There's an enormous amount of content out there. YouTube, by another example, that is advertising-based that consumers can consume.
So the whole highlight thing, that's what sticks out. Like, it's a highlight league. That's not what people are talking about here, Adam. Like, people want to watch full games and they want the easiest access possible. They don't want to have these blackouts because you're not in the right area or just paying a grip just to watch one team. If you want to follow the Spurs, you shouldn't have to get all of League Pass to do that. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? You're paying for all of League Pass just to watch one team.
And this is from personal experience for you.
For sure. And for him to say you could go on Instagram and it's highlight based, like that's not, especially for someone like me in the business of media, that's not just looking for highlights and just random clips that get mad views. I need to watch the whole game. I watch every snap Texas football. I watch every basket of Texas women and men's basketball. So obviously that has nothing to do with this, but if we had to watch these NBA games for work, I feel like it'd be a little difficult to do that.
Yeah.
Or you have to pay a grip to do it, which for us, you just write that off on taxes, but that's a different story. But either way, it's a weird thing to say because now the NBA is going to Peacock and NBC. So if you don't have Peacock, tough. Like beforehand, you can watch Turner, TNT and stuff. Now you got to have Peacock. You got to have Prime. So it's become more difficult this year than it ever has to watch the NBA. And when he says things like, yeah, you know, we're a highlight-based league and stuff, you already have the struggles of getting fans who are locked into the football season when things are really getting good by the time the NBA starts. You're already having a difficulty of getting those guys to lock into the NBA. But also, we know the regular season is very watered down. If it wasn't, they wouldn't be doing that stupid soccer-like in-season tournament. You know what I'm saying? So for him to say it's a highlight-based league, I didn't think that was the right thing to say. I don't know if he's going to apologize for that or is he going to have to reword it. But for diehard NBA fans, it made it seem like Adam Silver's cool with the NBA being watered down because at the end of the day, hey, we got our money. The suit and ties, all the higher ups, hey, our pockets is fat. So we could care less about what the consumer cares about. As long as we stacking this dough, we good here. Y'all figure out how to watch it on y'all's own. And I don't know. I don't know if David Stern would have said all that. That's all I'm saying. I like Adam Silver. I think Adam Silver is terrific. You know, one of my dad's good friends was roommates with Adam Silver back in law school back in the day. Used to take my dad and my mom's to All-Star Weekend and paid for everything and stuff. Adam Silver's a cool dude. He's a cool dude, but
you need to get him on the show.
I don't think he's that cool, but
you never know. We'll get mom and pops to talk about some old stories about when they'd all go out drinking together.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, weird thing to say for somebody that's the commissioner of the league, but oh well. And other news, the NCAA has banned 3 Fresno State and San Jose State basketball players for gambling not only on their own games, but on each other's games. So the homies, were calling each other up on a nightly basis, saying, hey, who y'all got? Who y'all got this upcoming week? Oh, yeah, we got Arizona. What's the line? Okay, cool. I'm going to make sure it hits that. Put that paper in. And vice versa. This betting stuff is getting out of control. Out of control. Like, if you're the coach of Fresno State or San Jose State, like, what do you say then? You know what I mean? Like,
you're like, who recruited this guy? I thought we were doing a better job of analyzing character. Who recruited this guy who's now fixing games?
Fixing games, man. Like in cahoots with other teams, other programs. That's dark. Like it's one to just, fix it for your homies that aren't playing. That's not good. I don't recommend that at all. But hey, you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of situation where like, hey, bruh, I see y'all playing Mississippi State tonight. I see the line. Make sure you do what it takes. All right. And make sure when it's my turn, I got you. I got you.
Or I'm sending Moose and Rocco over there with a lead pipe. I'm going to take your kneecaps off.
Yo, this betting thing is getting out of control. It is getting out of control. But all right, man, let's get to these picks.
All right, let's get to these picks. Let's start off with Texas.
All right.
This line feels high to me, but at the same time, if this offense doesn't commit 8 penalties, doesn't turn it over twice in the red zone, they cover last week going away. I'm going to give them one more chance, Zay. One more chance. These Longhorns. I'm going to pick them to cover.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not.
45-3. I don't even feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah, I'm not. A lot of leaders most likely won't be available in this game.
Yeah.
And Contravian Wisner, DeAndre Moore, even though Alex January is trying to become a leader, it's not quite there yet. I mean, who knows? But he'll be out. Emmett Mosley's still out. So that's a lot. I feel like point of emphasis, as it should be, was the self-discipline and limiting the self-inflicting wounds this week. But still, I need for them to prove me wrong. You dig? Like, I need to see that they could cover and that they could be more consistent offensively, because I don't know if this defense will be able to get 4 turnovers like they did last week. That's the goal. If Ant Hill's going to Vandal Holyfield on guys still, then I'm sure they're going to get at least one. But
I'm changing my pick.
What?
42-3. That is not a cover.
What happened?
I just don't
tell
like
me
it.
I convinced you. Little old
convinced
me. Oh, come on, man.
No Contravian Wisner. No DeAndre Moore.
It's a lot of leadership, man.
It's a lot of leadership.
By the way, we didn't talk about this. Contravian Wisner wearing all his teammates' chains last week. That was hilarious, man. Jesse Palmer was funny too. That's my guy, Jesse Palmer, man. Bachelor legend. That's my show. But Jesse Palmer was like, by the way, y'all know that guys are getting paid nowadays because Contrarian Watson. He had CJ Baxter's chain on, the big old C4 chain. He had everybody's jewelry on. So I thought that was a cool look. But
he was looking like Kirk Cousins after a win when he was with the Vikings.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, Mr. T. He was rocking it. But yeah, I still think it's going to be a blowout. Just
what's your score?
I
said 42-3.
I'm going to go 40, 45, 13.
What?
Yeah.
How are they going to score 13 on this defense?
I don't know.
All right.
I could change it, though. That might not be it. I could change it by tomorrow. You won't be here, so I might change it. You put me on the spot. I haven't really thought about it, but it'll probably change.
Well, do you want to do the other picks now, college or pro?
No, stay on college.
All right, college. All right, I'm going to say that Arkansas covers the 7.5 against Ole Miss.
Okay. What gives you that confidence?
Taylor Green looked good, man. Taylor Green was going up and down the field. I like what he's doing. So,
Yeah.
Sam Pittman, Lane Kiffin going at it.
Why is Ole Miss playing so many conference games this early?
Right.
Isn't that a bit odd? Like, I mean, I know it's happening, but to play 2 before October even comes around, like, that's interesting. But, all right, I got Tennessee plus 3.5 against Georgia. Like that, come on, bro. Austin P, you're struggling with them. You score 7 points a quarter if you're Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, all those attempts, man. Zachariah Branch, only 6 touches the last 2 weeks. I think that Georgia could still win, but going to Knoxville, man, Joey Aguilar, feeling good. Everybody's confident in him. They got rid of all that bad juju that Nico was bringing around and stuff. Josh Heupel, get your revenge, dog. Get your revenge on Kirby. Don't let Kirby have your number. Get your revenge, handle your business. Big time upset win, taking the Vols.
Taking the Vols. All right, I am going to take A&M plus 6.5. I think Notre Dame wins this game, but I think it's closer than 6.5. So A&M plus 6.5.
All right.
At Notre Dame.
It's a huge game. I thought about that one, but I want to be different from you this week. So Vanderbilt, upset alert, baby. Vanderbilt in Columbia. Lenore's Heisman. I ain't trying to hear that. Diego Pavia. The bros just got out the pen. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the bros just got out the pen. We're turned up, angry. I hope the bros are there. I hope, them getting in trouble didn't mess up the schedule of going to their brother's football games. So, yeah, they should be in Columbia too. I was very impressed with Vanderbilt last week, beating the hell out of Virginia Tech. I know Virginia Tech ain't great, but at Virginia Tech, that environment, that's a very hostile environment, and Clark Lee and the Commodores went up there and beat them like they stole something. So I'm going to bank on that momentum and just the juice that Diego Pavia gives that team. Give me Vanderbilt to win that game.
I like that pick. I like South Florida to cover 18.5. USF plus 18.5 at Miami. Here come Byron Brown and the Bulls. What you say, Zay?
I like that one. I'm going to go with LSU. I think that's been a tough week for Florida. They should bounce back, but I think LSU, they got something good going. Even though they struggled last week, I think they could win by more than 7.5. So I'm going to take LSU. I don't like it. That's probably my least favorite pick out of the ones we've had today, but I'm going to go with Brian Kelly, man.
Okay. All right.
Let's zoom through the NFL because I see open gym guys. Bring them on in a couple minutes. Bills Jets in New York. It's Bills right now minus 6.5. I'm going with the Jets, man. Your boy Aaron Glenn. Don't like many Aggies, but I respect Aaron Glenn. I respect what Aaron Glenn's bringing to the table. I like Justin Fields last week. I like Garrett Wilson. I think they got a game there, especially coming off that high that Buffalo's coming off of. With that comeback, I think it's going to be a dogfight in that division. So, yeah, give me the Jets. They might not win, but I think they cover.
Okay, Buffalo Jets plus 6.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me the what the hell? I just had it. Oh, Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati minus 3.5 at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bengals minus 3.5.
You'll like this one. Give me your Lions minus 6.5 against the Bears. They're pissed off. They're embarrassed. That was ugly. So they got to show that they could get back to that vibe that they had towards last year when they won a division. I think they beat the hell out of Chicago.
I also am going Lions minus 6.5. What is your final pick?
Final pick. Got to go with my Falcons, baby. Plus 3.5 against the Vikings. Let's go, Michael.
Okay. Love you some Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, man. Bajan. Drake London.
All right. Then give me the
Come on, man. Don't hurt yourself.
I want to pick that Miami Patriots game, but I'm not going to do it.
Pick it.
You know what? Give me the damn Cowboys.
Whoa. What's
Give me
that?
the damn Cowboys. -5.5
I like that.
against the Giants, who look like hot garbage. All right, let's bring in the fellas. Patrick and Matt, what's going on?
What's going on, guys? Zay, I wanted to ask you, did you get to see the picture of that Wembanyama posted of him working out with Hakeem?
I did not. I've seen him working out with Hakeem, but I didn't see the picture.
He put up the picture of him and Hakeem, and you just see everyone's like, "Oh no, you can't let him work out with the Dream. That's gonna be bad."
Yeah. If he figures out all that dream shake stuff and all that footwork, then that's a problem for the rest of the NBA because the Dream was ridiculous.
There's very few post players who made the game look that pretty.
Right. Yeah.
Chip, I gotta say, I love your Cowboys pick. You want to know why?
Why?
The Cowboys have won 15 of the last 16 games against the Giants, dating back to, I think, like 2017, something like that.
Damn.
The only loss that the Cowboys had over that stretch, Andy Dalton was the starting quarterback for Dallas.
The Red Rocket.
Dallas owns New York. That was a great pick. I love it.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. He's back on the bandwagon.
We'll see you.
Happy birthday, Chip. Have a good one tomorrow.
Appreciate you. See you Monday.
Happy birthday, Chip.
All right, welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered as we roll into a Thursday edition of the show. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. Text line's open 512-222-9328. And over there on the chat on Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Got some Sark audio for you today. Talk some UTEP, talk a lot of Texas football. What's up, CB? Dwight Howard did. There was a lot of times where they were like, you should work with Hakeem. Like, he is one of the most skilled. Like, he moves so effortlessly in the post, and he just dominates. Like, I'm a Spurs fan, and he dominated David Robinson. But it's like, I have the respect for the game that I'm like, if you want to go get footwork and all that down, you go work with Hakeem. There's very few better at that. So, yeah, there was Dwight Howard was hesitant on it. And then they brought in Patrick Ewing, which Patrick Ewing's good, but it's not quite the same thing of like Patrick Ewing was more of just kind of brute force, but they brought him in as assistant coach to the Magic so that they would work out together. But they tried to get Hakeem, and I don't know. Then Hakeem's worked with several other big guys, but every once in a while there will be a big guy who's like, "Oh, I don't want to work with Hakeem." Like, why not? Why would you not want to work with that guy?
Yeah, I have a hot take about Hakeem. I think he's the best center of all time. So if you don't want to learn from the best, then what are you doing?
I mean, he's could definitely be the most skilled. Or
That's
like
what
the
I
most
mean. That's what I
effortless
mean.
or whatever. Yeah, because you're just like what he was able to do in the post. He was just so good.
Yeah,
what he could do.
Shaq was the most dominant, obviously.
Yeah.
But
then like Will Chamberlain was the most dominant player ever because at the time there was no one else even close to what he could do. And so if you score 100 points in a game, you win. You're the most dominant player. And like he would just there was no offensive goaltending, so he would just catch balls that were shots and then put them in. Like, if you've ever watched some Wild stuff, it's insane because like he literally someone would throw a shot up and he'd just go up and grab it and dunk it. And you're like, what is happening?
But Hakeem was the most skilled center that I've ever seen in my life. Obviously, I can't go all the way back to the Bill Russells of the world because I wasn't alive back then. and there's not a lot of Bill Russell tape out there for me to ingest. But Hakeem was incredible, man.
No, and you can like Kevin McHale has good moves. Like there's a lot of guys who had good moves. No one was as smooth as Hakeem doing it. Like Hakeem could get you while you were like he could get you falling out of your shoes. And most guys could get you where they would get the inside leverage and you could just get behind them and you couldn't really make a play anymore. Just good, solid post play. Hakeem just had guys up in knots. And that was why he was so good at it, and just get that little dream fade too, which is like the precursor to the dark fade.
My man.
That's but like the dark fade was the one that you're like is one of the most unblockable shots in NBA history. A 7-footer fading away with his hands above his head. Like who's blocking this shot? So all those ones. Have you seen all the stuff about Kawhi Leonard too, Matt?
I try to avoid Kawhi Leonard at all costs. I know about the fake tree company and all that, like, you know, the Clippers paying some of his contract through like a shell company, like whatever you want to call it. Like, it's very weird stuff.
There was a company called Aspiration that basically their thing was you give us money and we will plant trees. And then we'll find ways to like work with companies that then they'll give us stuff and we'll plant trees. And it was this whole, they gave out tons of money in celebrity endorsements, and it was kind of a Ponzi scheme. Basically, we got donors in, we gave that money back out to a bunch of people, and then there was no real chance to plant trees or any real business model other than that. And part of that, though, was Steve Ballmer gave $50 million to Aspiration, and Kawhi Leonard reportedly in Toronto, one of the pieces he wanted was a no-show job. So basically an endorsement he didn't have to do anything for. So an endorsement of I'll wear their clothes on the sideline or whatever, and then they'll pay me another $10 million a season. But I want more than the max. I don't think that the max is enough for me. You have to find a way to pay me even more money. I'm not going to play. I don't want to be here. I hate basketball, apparently. But I want more money to be here. So then he goes to the Clippers, and now the belief is that there was a $28 million deal for him with Aspiration, where he never had to do one thing, never a social media post. He never even shared a video, never shared a video or a post or anything like that, right? So we have none of that. Then Adam Silver comes out today, and some people ask him about it because it's as big that they're like, one of the teams was like pretty clearly cheating. We think they're cheating. And so he came off with that, and I'll get into a minute but he comes out and says, well, the burden on proof is we have to prove that they were actually cheating, which tells me nothing will ever come from this. Then the report came out today that they looked through the numbers because basically Aspiration went bankrupt. And because of that, all of their stuff becomes public. When you go bankrupt, people can go through your stuff now. And so that's how they had all this information, where Kawhi Leonard had a clause in his contract with him that if he was no longer on the Clippers, that he stopped getting the money. Now, he could still be getting paid by the Clippers, but wasn't on the team and would not get the money anymore. Pretty much every endorsement deal you're going to get is for the NBA player, especially something that's $28 million, is going to be for an NBA player. So it doesn't matter what team you're on. We just want you to, if you're in the NBA, because we don't have the rights to the Clippers. So it doesn't make sense for us because we don't have the rights to the Clippers, right? So we can't show you in a jersey anyway if we're using you in promotional stuff. All that being said, today they go, well, while they were going basically running out of money, they owed Kawhi Leonard $2 million or $1.75 million. They owed $1.75. They're late on this payment, but they couldn't make it. So one of the minority owners of the Clippers donates another $2 million to Aspiration, or like buys in for another $2 million. And then immediately that $1.75 million payout goes to Kawhi Leonard. So instead of like helping the business or doing anything else, they basically take the money from this owner of the company and then immediately pay it back out. Like it's blatant. Like at this point, it seems wildly blatant that there was at least an under the table deal that they would get him this deal. And now whether or not, because you can say, if you come to the Spurs, we'll hook you up with an HEB contract. Now, it's not going to be $28 million, but you're going to be in some really fun commercials during Spurs games. But I think when Adam Silver came out today and he goes, the burden of proof is on us. And it's this thing where I'm very much the burden of proof guy. Is like, no, it is. You can't just make it like on conspiracy theories, on any of this stuff. I'm very much the burden of proof is you have to prove. Like, you can't just go, the earth is flat, and then go, no, you have to prove to me it's round. That's not how this works. We all agree that it is round. You have to then prove to me it's flat. And if you can't, because it's not, you can't get mad at me. And the one that always gets people the most mad is, I don't believe in ghosts. And people who do believe in ghosts get very, very mad about this, because there's no way for them to prove it. It's an unprovable thing. There's never been a ghost really caught. Now, there's videos and pictures and stuff, but they're all fake or not real. Like, they're not, it's just like, oh, they're easily explainable. And they'll go, no, that's clearly a ghost. And you're like, but it's not. Or like, they'll do a picture and they'll be like, look at that. And you're like, well, there's 9,000 things that could be other than a ghost. And since, again, there aren't ghosts, I'm going to believe it's one of those other 9,000 things. So I've always been on that side of the argument. But now I'm very much on the other side with Kawhi Leonard. I'm like, guys, what proof do we need? Is the proof that you need, because there's already been a employee who has said that this was the deal. And so if you can verify that, then there's an employee. All the write-outs of it are clearly that he didn't have to do anything. Like, all of this seems like it should be some sort of punishment to the Clippers. And, in reality, with what the history of the NBA would be, is that he would basically kick that the contract would be null and void with Kawhi Leonard in, and he would no longer be on the Clippers. But they won't do that because it's too big of a name. The Joe Smith one they did to the Timberwolves, they could get away with. But it has been this new piece that comes out. It's just even more damning evidence. And I'm really curious. I don't think anything's going to happen because Steve Ballmer's so rich. And normally the more rich you are, the less consequences there are for you in life. So it's just, it's just what reality is. Like, you can usually buy your way out of it. And so he could basically, I think he's like richer than, I don't know, half the league combined of owners, if not more. So if you ever see a chart of the NBA ownership and the value of it, that like the guy who's second is like 7 million, and then he's like 500 million. You're like, oh yeah, no, this guy's he's NFL rich, not just NBA rich. And so I'm not sure what's going to come from it, but it's an interesting world right now. That Adam Silver had to come out and looked really, really bad. I don't know how much longer Adam Silver is going to be the face of the NBA with everything, because he's making the league a ton of money, but he is losing fan support quickly.
Yeah, didn't he just come out and say, well, if you can't pay for NBA League Pass or for streaming services, just watch highlights. This is a highlight league. You don't need to watch our games.
No, he dropped the wrong terminology there. The David Stern line is, there's never been more ways to watch the NBA. That is the positive. Like, I'm a PR person, yeah. I'll tell you. The PR spin on that is there's never been more ways to watch the NBA, which is technically true. They're on 7 different streaming services now. So you only have to have one to watch the NBA. Now, your team and whatever else, that becomes harder. But the truth be told, there's never been more players or places to watch the NBA. And yeah, so his retort on that coming out, having to deal with after the Luka Doncic trade, and everybody got pissed about that. They're trying to build get the new leagues in, and everybody's pissed about, where they're going to be, and then, who's going to move to where they're at and how much they're going to sell these teams for, and then raise the prices once again on all tickets everywhere. Everyone's just not thrilled with Adam Silver. He also talked about a new format for the All-Star game that he wants to do.
Yeah, like a one-on-one thing or something?
No, he wants to do a Ryder Cup thing, is what he said. So he does want to do USA versus the world.
Okay. Interesting. Well,
but he wants to have, I believe, 2 USA teams and a world team. and then kind of do it like how because they did that this year, how they had 4 teams and then they both played each other and then the 2 winners went on to play each other.
That is so dumb.
Because they had the rookie team that got in, and then they're just trying.
The real way to fix the All-Star game is not by creating more different ways to do it. It's just like, hey, you have incentives to play hard in this game so that it's entertaining.
Yeah,
that's about it.
No, I agree. I don't think there's a way to save it without really over leveraging it, because I don't think it's worth it to be like, we're gonna put some actual prize in there for like the rest of the season. I don't think it's worth ruining home court advantage and whoever had the best record. I don't get that going to the All-Star game. It over leverages the All-Star game for me. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to fix it anymore. It just is what it is. It's hilarious too when you talk to kids now, like young basketball players, and they're like, "Oh, this is the way it's always been." You're like, "Go back and watch like a 1988 All-Star game." And they are nuts competitive. Like, it is crazy how competitive they are back then. But they weren't super rich back then either. It was a big difference in how much money you made at that time. So now that everyone is super rich, it makes it a little bit easier. And Air the Dog, I agree with you. Slap on the wrist. It's going to be terrible. Terrible when they do that. They ripped the Timberwolves apart. They voided the Joe Smith contract and took, I believe, 5 first-round picks from them. They ended up giving back 2 because they realized it was too brutal what they did to them for like Joe Smith, who Joe Smith wasn't a bad player, but he's not Kawhi Leonard. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. So basically what you're telling me is that you're a flat earther and you believe in ghosts. Is that what I'm hearing?
Dead on. All my conspiracy theories. I don't have too many of them. I don't have too many conspiracy theories. I try not to dive too much into that world. Do you have any conspiracy theories you're fully in on? The Illuminati.
No, not really. I'm not much of a conspiracy guy. I mean, there are certain things that I question, but I for the most part, no, I'm a realist. I think, maybe so, the CIA killed Kennedy or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I've looked at, like, I enjoy like looking into this stuff, and then you get to the crazy people in it, and there's some stuff on that's like makes way more sense, and everybody apparently hates that because like, that's not fun. Don't do the one that makes sense. Do the fun ones where it's a worldwide conspiracy. There's Hair of the Dog. Hair of the Dog. There's a whole thing about his son. You can get into it. There's a whole theory about his son being the guy who did it. There's plenty. I've watched a ton of stuff about this. It's interesting stuff to me. I just don't believe in any of it. I just watch the stuff and then get angry at it. Like, why do you people believe this? It's probably not healthy to do. Shout out also. I didn't forget to say this. I ran into Eddie Warren last night. I hadn't seen Eddie Warren in a couple years. Does the color commentary for Texas basketball. It's good to see Eddie Warren. So shout out to Eddie Warren. You ever go see that? Looking forward to Texas basketball this year as well. It's this team is, the more I like kind of look at this team and see what you do, you're like, this is a team that has potential to be like, they could make a run if things work out, and Sean Miller is really the dude. They could be all right and pretty, make a run in the tournament. And then you look at the other way and you're like, but also probably maybe not. Some of the games early this year and that Duke game, I don't know. So I'm a little on the fence about this game so far, but we'll see as we continue on and get closer.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. There you go. That's what we like to say. We got some Sark audio for you today. Sark spoke to the media today as we get into some UTEP conversation, trying to get ready for this game on Saturday. We don't have an 11 a.m. kickoff, which is nice. I know you prefer the 11 a.m. kickoff because you're done for the rest of the day. I'm not working it, so I'm fine with having it where I can watch some football early, then watch the Longhorns, and then watch a later game. I don't mind it too much.
Yeah, I'm just really, really interested in this A&M Notre Dame game and then Georgia Tennessee game and Ole Miss against Arkansas. because Ole Miss always plays bad against Arkansas. So I'm like pretty scared about that one. But there's just so many good night games, and like Chip and I will be in the press conference room until 4:15, 4:30 probably. No, wait, actually no, sorry.
No, you'll be in there like 7.
Sorry, 7:15, 7:30, something like that. So I really don't want to miss the beginnings of those games. But that's just the game you have to play when you're in the media, and it's unfortunate. I think every for the benefit of the media, every Texas game should be at 11 a.m. I know nobody will agree with me on that because they love night games, but that's what I wish. If I found a magic genie lamp and I had 3 wishes, it would be that every Texas game is at 11 a.m., every Ole Miss game is at 7 p.m., and that I had $1 billion.
No, you're not going to wish for more money, more wishes. It's always wish for more wishes, dude. Come on.
They don't allow that, Patrick. Haven't you seen Aladdin?
What do you think about the rumors? Have you heard the rumors that if Florida was to fire Billy Napier, that Lane Kiffin would be interested in that job?
I don't believe it.
No, you don't believe him? You don't think he's got too good
I
of a thing
don't.
going?
I think that there are places that Lane Kiffin would go. I don't know that Florida is going to do that for him. He gets I think that he can do whatever he wants in Oxford. He has everything that he could possibly want and more. He's under absolutely no pressure because he's winning football games. He's recruiting well. He's got he's got a new contract every single year. It's like a rolling contract extension that he gets every single year. I'm sure he'll be mentioned in the conversation for the Florida job. And then he'll go to the Ole Miss AD and say, "Hey, I think they want me over there." I'll be like, "All right, how much do you want on this new deal? 10 million or 11 million? Because I think you're already at 9 or 10. So let's get you to 11."
I think he's just going to try and coach at every school in the SEC. I think he's trying to check them all off.
I honestly don't think that he's ever going to leave Ole Miss unless like Alabama comes calling, or like Texas, or like something like that, like a major job, because I just think he's super happy there. Like he has his whole family there. The town loves him. He's a god in Oxford right now. He really is. And all he's got to do is win 9 games every year.
But I think Joey Freshwater would prefer Florida. Just
Gainesville, I don't think would be the place where he would. It'd have to be somewhere with, like Miami. I think would be Miami, because he likes the beach.
Yeah.
So if there was a Florida school he went to, it'd be Miami. Not.
Yeah, and CB's right. Gruden is another name that has been floated out there for. It's like he really wants, like, he just doesn't want to leave coaching with the taste in his mouth of being fired. And like the whole 10-year contract with the Raiders, and then the lawsuit with the NFL. I think he just wants to come back and coach for a little while and win again. I just don't like, I don't think John Gruden could coach in college for more. Like, I think you have to do it like Harbaugh. It's the only way I think it works. It's like a 4 or 5 year run, coach there for a little while, and then win at the end because you maybe did some unscrupulous things. But by the end of it, like, your team will hate you. Like, John Gruden teams just don't, like, no one ever goes back and like, man, I love playing for John Gruden. You don't hear those stories a ton.
You know what I did hear?
What's that?
A former player for South Carolina, Mike Davis, when asked what it was like to play for Steve Spurrier, he said, before the guy even finished asking the question, he said, "I hate that guy. I hate that guy. Even if I had a good game, that guy would trash me in the media if I made one mistake." I get it. I get it. He seems like a not fun guy.
No, the original Arch comment, and then the one he just made blew my mind. That Arch should talk to his uncles. Like, well, clearly you didn't watch the game. Clearly we have not watched Arch play this season. Because otherwise, as a football coach, you could have a better opinion than that. Mm-hmm. But he basically said, I've heard his mechanics are bad. He should talk to him. Like, this is what we're getting out of you? Like, there's some coaches and some players who are really, really good at breaking down and letting you know and letting you inside the game and sharing their experiences. And then there's some other guys that are like, I don't want to pay for my golf anymore. I need to make a little bit more money to pay for my golf. So I'll just show up. I'm not going to watch football. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm Steve Spurrier. I can do whatever I want. And then I'm just going to have some asinine opinions that I read, doing the 8 minutes of prep I did before I got here. It just feels like that. I haven't heard a good take come out of his show yet, which is not hugely surprising. But he was also always the "I'll run 2 quarterbacks" guy. And he's one of the guys that the phrase, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, is based on. Is Spurrier. It's one of those guys. So, look, legendary coach, but would not work in today's age.
Arguably the most overrated coach in the history of college football.
Could be.
Arguably. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying you can make the argument.
Sark is not one of the most overrated coaches. Maybe he will be one day. Not there yet. But he was talking to me today. Here's his opening comments about the week and getting ready for UTEP.
Alrighty. I think first and foremost, great opportunity for us. We talked about it on Monday, but to be back at home, playing in front of our crowd, afternoon game, and exciting time. Obviously, with the way our schedule is formatted, we get 3 straight home games, and then we're not home for a while. And this year in particular, we only have 6 home games. And so cherishing these opportunities that we have in DKR, making the most of them from an experience standpoint, but also making the most of them from a team perspective. And how do we make the most of them? That's playing more consistent and clean football than we have through 2 weeks. And it's easy to see from an offensive perspective what that looks like in areas where we need to improve. But I think that's collectively. I think our penalties need to come down. We need to play a cleaner brand of football. With that, I don't want to lose our edge. I don't want to lose our aggressive, our speed, our physicality, because I think that is something that we take a lot of pride in. But we got to play smarter football, and that is something that we're striving for. So should be a great day at DKR. Looking forward to a lot of guys hopefully getting an opportunity to play. We've been pushing more young guys to play. They're getting more reps in practice, and hopefully we can get them in earlier in the ball game this week.
There's Sark's opening comments about the game this weekend. And there is this feeling of, trying not to overstate the elephant in the room, which is the penalties, and not overstating that, but then also going, well, we want to attack more. We want to be more aggressive. We want to be more intense, but so much cleaner. And where's that line between pressing your players to be able to, block better without holding? To be able to jump on the snap and get a better jump on your on the defense without jumping off sides. Being more aggressive without getting a roughing the passer penalty. Being more aggressive without getting pass interference calls. Being more aggressive running the football, but, holding on to it and not trying to stretch out for another 2 or 3 yards and fumbling. Like all of those pieces are that fine line that you're walking, and you still get 2 weeks to walk it. But this is a week where it's like, we can say intensity and everything else. You got to be able to show up. But if you're close, if you're anywhere close to what you were in penalties, if you're, 8 for 80, you're still like, this is abysmal and awful. This is not getting better. This is just, they didn't call a couple things.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to see a stark difference in the penalty numbers. I'm not saying they have to be perfectly clean because it's really hard to go through an entire football game and not commit a penalty in some way, shape, or form. I think for Texas fans to feel good about it, you have to at least cut that in half. Yeah. So, 5-6 penalties, maybe a false start or an offsides or something like that's fine. What you don't want to see is the multiple holding calls. You don't want to see the hands to the face, the roughing the passer. But I also think it extends out more pass penalties as well. I think it's guys pressing to make big plays too often, like Ryan Wingo. Secure the football and get on the move. Secure the football before you get on the move and just make sure you have the ball in your hands and that you're gaining yards before you do too much. Arch is another one where it's like, hey, take the check down. You don't always have to go for the shot down the field or go for the big play. Or with the running back, stop dancing behind the line looking for a 20-yard gain when we just need you to get 5 and we can move along. Those things are part of that conversation as well. I think overall, as long as you see a pretty clean game this week as opposed to last week, which was a really dirty game in terms of penalties and mistakes and those kinds of things, you just want to see progress. It doesn't have to be perfect. Where you want to be perfect, or at least as close to perfect as you can possibly be, is when you're in Gainesville a couple weeks or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
As long as you make marked improvements here and then against Sam Houston State the week after, you'll feel a lot better going into Florida. If you have 10 penalties this week and then 9 penalties against Sam Houston State, then you're going to be a little bit concerned going back to Florida. So from all accounts, they've had a really good week of practice, and I'm sure Sark's going to talk about that in this audio that we're about to play. But I'm pretty confident that they've got the message because it's been hammered home to them as far as I know throughout the week.
Yeah, and that's the whole question, isn't it, Matt? It's like they know the message, but they knew that going into the season. There's not a point that any of these guys at being 4 or 5-star athletes and everything, they all spring and everything else were like, oh, so I don't hold. Oh, okay. All right. So I'd have to wait till they hike the ball before I go. Cool. I didn't know. Like they know they're not supposed to screw up. And the question is, how hard are you? How can you make it to where they're not they're not responding to making mistake by making mistake or not performing at the highest level because they're too worried about making mistake, and just getting back to playing your game and trusting in yourself, but not overstepping and overdoing it. And you're right on with, the pressing of Ryan Wingo and all of that. It is that, guys, if we just play our game and play smart, this won't be as big of a problem. But you had not a great week against Ohio State, and then you compound that by coming in the next week trying to fix everything and show that you're the best team in the country and you deserve the number 1 ranking again, and you make it worse because you get way too many penalties. And Colin Simmons starts pressing, and Ryan Wingo's pressing still, and Arch still doesn't quite fix everything. It's like those things are where you have to go, just play football. You know what you're doing. Like, you know how to do it. You just have to go play football. A couple people who will not be playing football. Here is the injury update as well from Sark today.
Yeah, I think all those guys are doubtful to out this week. I don't have concerns about long-term effects about any of them, but I think we would be putting them at risk for long-term effects if we forced them back too soon. So that's where those 4 guys are at.
The 4 guys mentioned there are DeAndre Moore, Emmett Mosley, Travion Henderson, sorry, not Travion Henderson, Trey Wisner, and DeAndre Moore. Or did I say DeAndre Moore twice in that one?
Alex January is the
Alex
other one.
January.
You said
sorry.
DeAndre Moore first, yeah. Yeah, so this isn't a game where you got to force any of these guys back into playing. If any of those 4 guys play, I would imagine it's because it would be DeAndre Moore if he happens to clear concussion protocol before he gets there, because that's the report that he's going through concussion protocol. Even without him or without any of these other guys, I think that they're going to be fine. Dalen McCutcheon or Ryan Niblett would probably be there in the slot for DeAndre Moore in those situations. Maybe it gives a little bit of an extra opportunity to, Kalik Lockett, maybe someone like that. So that could be something to look at. The defensive tackle room is so deep that, holding a guy out against UTEP is a smart idea. Emmett Mosley still has some time left on his recovery. Hopefully he's back by SEC play. I don't think you rush him into anything. And same with Trey Wisner. There's no reason to rush him until you get to the SEC because you already know what that guy's capable of. And I don't know if you're about to play the audio about the running backs, but there's an interesting name that popped up that could get into the running back conversation.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. By the way, the Trey Wisner, can we not give him all of the chains this week? He looked rather uncomfortable last week with all of the chains. He looked
like 20 pounds of.
He's like holding him up. He's like, this sucks. And then once guys started getting pulled out of the game, he started handing them back out to everybody. But yeah, maybe spread that one out. I don't know if you can put him on DeAndre Moore if he's still in concussion protocol. I don't know the chain limit.
Or just leave them in the locker room.
You could do that, but that you didn't pay astronomical prices to put him in the locker room, Matt. You put him out there to get him on TV. What I was going to play is we talked about breakout players in this, and Dalen McCutcheon's name was brought up as somebody who, with DeAndre Moore out, with Emmett Mosley out, could easily step up into that role as somebody. And the question was basically, you talked a lot about Grayson Littleton. He has stepped up. Dalen McCutcheon's a name we heard about a lot as well. What do you think he could do this week? Because if there's no DeAndre Moore, if there's no Emmett Mosley, then it's Ryan Wingo, it's Parker Livingstone, and, you know, where else are you going with it? So Dalen McCutcheon may even start if you're talking about it in that sense going in. So here is Sark speaking about Dalen McCutcheon and what he could do this week.
No, I think it is a great opportunity for Dalen. You know, I give him a lot of credit. You know, when he came to spring ball's tough. When you come mid-year, you should still be in high school. But he picked up what we did really well. It was very natural to him. He wasn't perfect, but his ability to learn multiple positions, his ability to be fearless, and I think that's something that as a freshman receiver you kind of need to be, because you're never really knowing if you're right or wrong half the time. And they're just out there, especially early on in their career in spring ball and in training camp. But he was fearless. And when his opportunities presented themselves, he went and made plays. He competed, blocking on the perimeter. As I said, he played in the slot. He's played outside. And so he's earned a lot of trust from us. That's probably the biggest thing that's occurred. He's earned trust. And with trust comes more opportunities. And then with opportunities, what do you do? What do you do with those opportunities? And so he's got a great one here in front of him this week. And if you know if history is any indicator of the future, I think he's going to maximize the opportunities that are presented to him this weekend.
There's Sark speaking about Dalen McCutcheon, and you know it's about taking advantage of opportunities. We talked about that with Parker Livingstone, was a guy who did that. Grayson Littleton did it and is in there. And Dalen McCutcheon, this is a chance for him to seize the opportunity to jump ahead of Emmett Mosley in that depth chart, where we all think Emmett Mosley is going to be good once he gets healthy and gets used to it. But, you know, if you're talking about jumping into that Sark circle of trust, there's Dalen McCutcheon. If he plays really well this week, becomes a good target. You know, we talk about the injuries. There's some reports that Jack injuries may not be 100%, so we don't know how much he will play, if at all. As well, if you take out Jack injuries, that's another kind of name of a player who would get a lot of targets. So if we're talking about that, you're like, there's just not a ton of names who are getting targets anymore. So you're probably down for 5 or 6 maybe in this game. If that's the case, at least 3 or 4. What can you do with those? Can you be in the right spot? Can you block well? Can you get no penalties in the game? All those pieces, if Dalen McCutcheon earns in that circle of trust, that's your first freshman to step up. Then we can worry about Khalil Lockett or Jamie French or somebody else who might be that next player in that freshman line to go get some snaps and play well. Because Khalil Lockett, we know, did well at the end of the game. But Dalen McCutcheon, this does feel like a big opportunity for him.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for him. He had a big catch against Ohio State during that game, and he had a couple opportunities against San Jose State. The first one bounced off his hands. It was a really tough catch, though. Arch was kind of forced into an awkward throw because the offensive line kind of collapsed on him and he was getting hit or about to get hit. So he kind of threw it a little bit off platform and it was a little bit wide. So he dropped that one. But then he got another one later in the game. So, you know, I think that he's earned his opportunity. He's been great in practice for a while. And this is going to be a big chance for him. He's a really talented guy. And I expect him to make the most of it. If UTEP has any brains defensively, which, you know, they're second in the nation in tackles for loss and first in the nation in sacks, so I think they got a little bit over there. They're going to try to do everything they can to take away Parker Livingstone first and foremost. So that's just going to open things up even more for Dalen McCutcheon and for Ryan Wingo for that matter. So I expect him to maximize his opportunities and have a good game here.
You also mentioned about the backup running backs. That was the question was, every year it seems like there's a time where the backup running backs have to step up. Now for this year, it feels a little different because you do have 2 solidified starters in Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter. But Trey Wisner is already dealing with some things. So now it's CJ Baxter, and who else are you going to share carries with, especially early in the season? So Sark was asked about how important that backup running back room is and what Sark thinks they should do there.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, I think the running back position in any level is really important to continue the development of players that maybe aren't the ones that are getting the bulk of the carries in game, because as we all know, and you know, injuries can occur and guys get forced into action. So you got to make sure that you're prepping and preparing those guys. I thought it was really good for Christian Clark to get in there last week. I think an opportunity for him to watch the tape, see the tape, and then get back to practice this week to make sure he's running to his style and how runs hit and fit in game. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing James Simon this week as well. He's been working very hard. And as far as Jarrett goes, I hated it for him last week. Because he's really worked at the ball, you know, and he's a physical runner. He's not afraid of contact, and it was a great punch out. I thought it was ironic on the punch out. That was Larry Turner Gooden who punched that ball out, who had been with us. And so he was a guy that was a very intentional punch on the ball. It looked like the way we practice. And so it was great for him to get that exposure. The moment you think it's high and tight, it's not high and tight enough, especially in traffic. And so we got to continue to work with him because we're going to need him. He's going to be an asset for us. His physical running ability is something that we're going to need as the season progresses.
So there's Sark speaking about the running backs and how they're going to be needed as the season continues on. And a little love there for Jarrett Gibson, basically going, we know the fumble problems are there. We're still working with him. He is not a lost cause yet where we're just going to put him in back in the back burner and say, all right, Jarek, have fun. We're not, you don't get to play anymore. Now, if he continues to fumble in these next couple games by SEC play, that will be much more of a story, but I think they want to have a guy like him that can run the ball pretty well. But the running back room as a whole, this is as deep as it's been probably in a while.
Yeah, it's super deep. Jarrett Gibson is an amazingly talented player. He just has that kind of one flaw to his game that he needs to work on. And in these next couple weeks are going to be a great opportunity for him to work on that against UTEP and against Sam Houston State, where the stakes aren't as high, but you still need to have, you know, put your best foot forward and secure the football. So that they can be confident giving him the ball against Florida and giving him the ball against Oklahoma in those situations when they need him, especially if Trey Wisner doesn't get back to 100% by SEC play. But the other guy that Sark mentioned in there that I'm particularly interested to see what he can do is James Simon.
Yeah.
This is a guy that I was very intrigued with coming out of high school, 4-star recruit, you know, guy that can be very, very explosive. He can do things in the pass game. He can do things in the run game. He's number 9 running back in the country coming out of high school. So, you know, I mean, you look at this guy's stats. I mean, he played 3 years as the main starter on his varsity team at Calvary Baptist Academy in Shreveport, which is a really good program. He ran for 492 yards or 492 attempts, 4,043 yards, and 62 touchdowns over his career. He had 51 catches for 642 yards and 7 more scores. So this guy is really explosive. He's really dynamic. I just want to see what he looks like in a college uniform. I think he has a chance to be really, really good. So I hope he gets in the game, you know, not just in garbage time. I want to see him maybe get a couple opportunities like Christian Clark did this past week where he's in the game, you know, when it's still kind of in the air a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's going to be what we know. How did he practice? That is a big piece for Sark. Are you practicing hard enough when you're getting in there? Do you feel like we can trust you to go in and have the best game possible? Sark spoke about the intensity this week at practice, trying to continue to ramp things up a little bit more. It's weird when you start just so big with Ohio State, then you have these 3 weeks, but you know you're going into Florida, and that is a big piece. And then Oklahoma, like it opens up real fast again. So keeping that intensity high and continuing to kind of ramp things up more and more as you get along. Here's Sark speaking about the intensity this week at practice.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I thought the intensity was as high as it's been all season, Tuesday and Wednesday. And I credit that to our scout team players. And you think about a lot of these guys on scout team, they're fighting for playing time. They want to play. And so that's a lot of their opportunity to show us, their ability to play, how to play. And so they raised the level of intensity, and that put a challenge on, the first team offense, the first team defense to perform. And so as that intensity rose, I think you could feel it on both sides of the ball. And we owe a ton to the guys that were working on scout team this week, because I thought they gave an excellent look. It was highly competitive. There's very talented people on both sides of the ball on those two teams. And so it made practice intense. It made it fun. I think the guys appreciated the work that we got definitely on Tuesday and Wednesday this week.
There's Sark speaking about practice and trying to ramp it up a little bit more and bring that intensity and bring, it's just in this preseason kind of play, letting your team understand, because again, one thing we have talked about that is probably the most noticeable thing about this team that's a difference from last year is this is a very young team, and they act young. The mental capacity of being young, all that is there. So when we talk about at practice, trying to keep that mindset of you guys are not good enough to turn a switch on or off. You guys aren't good enough to it's UTEP this week. We'll knock them out. We'll work pretty hard. And then the bye week, we'll kind of rest up and get healthy. And then for Florida, we'll go in and be like, you can't act like that. You guys got to we need to get better and better, because we're not a championship team right now. Now, there's not a ton of championship teams right now out there, because that's not how it works. In college football, you have to continue to grow all season long, but you can get there if you keep working hard. But if you're going to take the first 3 or 4 weeks and not be as intense at practice, not as intentional at practice, it's going to be a long, long season.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this team practices, I think they practice really well. I think they practice really hard. I think that the disconnect for them the first couple weeks has been, sort of applicating what they're doing in practice into the game. And that's something that's only going to come for a young team after you played a few games. There's plenty of teams out there across the board. And I know that not everybody, but the majority of the people who probably listen to this show and to our network are Texas fans. And the majority of the football that they take in is looked at through a burnt orange lens. They've watched Texas more than anybody else, and they maybe pick and choose some other football games they watch throughout the day, and they're not seeing everybody else around the country. So it's really easy to take the preseason hype with what this team was, see how they performed in the first couple of weeks, and just be like, oh my God, it's doom and gloom. We're going to suck. When in reality, the reality of the situation is there's a lot of good teams who have struggled early on in the season, because a lot of teams are replacing a lot of good players with a lot of young talent. And it takes time for those players to kind of get into the speed of the game and adjust and get to a point where they're an elite football team. I mean, we just talked about last week, LSU struggled with Louisiana Tech, Georgia struggled with Austin Peay, Clemson struggled with Troy. So I mean, there's a lot of different things. Ole Miss struggled with Kentucky, much to my chagrin. There's a lot of scenarios out there where this is happening around the country. So, Texas is no different. They just need to continue to practice well and then applicate that to the games and become more comfortable in their own skin, more comfortable with the expectations. And just like you've said, every single day this week, I think for the most part, and I think we should keep saying it every single day throughout the early part of the season, just go out there and play football.
Yeah.
Forget the noise, forget everything else. Just go play your game. You're going to be fine. You're super talented. Just, clean it up and they'll be fine.
Yeah. Sark was also asked about Arch playing under center and kind of in the play action world. And we'll come back and talk a little bit about this too. There's a lot of numbers about Arch under center and doing that and what they're trying to learn how to do and what they're trying to do. Here's what Sark had to say about Arch playing under center more.
Yeah, I thought it's been good. You know, obviously when you get under center to play pass, you kind of have to get under center to do a few other things too. And we've gotten under center and ran the ball a little bit more than we have historically. We got under center last week and ran a jet sweep to Ryan Wingo, something that we haven't really done. And so we just try to evolve and play to the strengths of the guys. I think Arch is very comfortable, under center in his mechanics. And here's a guy who's been studying the quarterback position his whole life. And so, you know, I'm sure watching his uncles and mimicking those things in the backyard when he was a kid, it's a little more comfortable for him. I feel like it helps our run game some in that, you know, when you look at a back like C4, him to be able to line up 7.5 yards behind the quarterback, run downhill, get his pad square and be physical, but I also think it helps the play action pass game, CJ, not to, I'm getting to your answer now. Because I do think there's something to be said about the quarterback, you know, turning his back to the line of scrimmage, the offensive line with an opportunity to fire out. It gives a little bit of a different feel than when the quarterback's just in the gun and the running back's coming across. And so we're trying to create those voids in the secondary and those intermediate throws. And, you know, we hit a couple of those. I think we hit Jordan Washington on a pretty nice one last week. I think the 12 personnel stuff has been good for us, getting under center and doing those things. And we're always evolving, we're always adapting and adapting. And sometimes you have to go back to adapt. And a lot of the stuff we're doing right now is kind of similar to what we did with Mac Jones in 2020 at Alabama. He had a real level of comfort there, and it allowed us to do some of those things. And so again, we've got a lot of offense, and then it's trying to tap into the areas where we think we're at our best, that our players we can put them in the best position to be successful.
There is Sark speaking about Arch going under center. Throw in the little Mac Jones thing there. Mac Jones had an insane season. That offense that year was just insane for Alabama. The numbers are incredible. So throw that one in there just to be like, don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing, guys. See what I've done before. But if you look at what Arch's numbers are under center, you can tell. I don't really believe that the main reason of putting people under center was necessarily just for Arch. I think it was probably more for the running game. It was probably more for red zone. And like, we have to be able to be in because the world of always being in shotgun is not helping us in our red zone numbers. So we need to add this part to our game, and maybe we'll step back off it a little bit as we get into the season. Maybe we'll go more into it depending on how it goes. But in these first, 4 weeks, you're going to use it a decent amount to try and get where you go. Arch right now, his play action numbers are actually not very good. And if you look at quarterbacks, especially in the NFL, play action numbers are usually much, much better than anything else because you're disguising the defense. For Arch, it feels like he just isn't at the point in game where he can be off schedule. And in play action, he's off schedule. And so when he does that and he turns around, too much has already happened. He has turned his back on the play. He's turned around, and now too much has happened for him to just be able to click back into it. He'll get better at that as time goes on, but it is a big difference for a quarterback if they're not as used to it to basically turn your back on a play and then turn back around and see what has happened and then rescout the field, but only look at a couple pieces. So it feels like he's not there. His dropbacks in under center are pretty good. Like, he has a pretty good percentage when he literally just takes a back, steps back, and throws. He's better at that. The play action has not developed yet for him. That's going to take a little bit more time. So I don't think the under center play action is necessarily going to make it too big into the SEC play. It may, if he picks it up here in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure they're working on it in practice, but that one hasn't fully come across yet. But the 12 personnel, the under center, the play action, all of this stuff is really trying to build yourself up for red zone, because he knows as well as everybody else, we cannot keep sucking in the red zone.
Yeah, no, I like that they're trying to implement this stuff. We haven't really seen it under Sark very often.
Yeah.
In years past. And, the play action thing from under center, I'm not going to sit here and lie to everybody and say that I watched a bunch of Isidore Newman high school tape, but I would imagine he wasn't under center very much when he was at Isidore Newman. I don't think he was under center very much over the last couple of years under Sark. So this is kind of a new thing for him.
Yeah.
And it's something that, not only will it help Texas down the road as he gets better at it in terms of passing, it's also going to help develop him for the NFL, because there's a lot more of that stuff in the NFL than there is in college football. I think he's made progress from week 1 to week 2 in that. I don't tend to put too much stock into completion percentage with just 2 weeks as a baseline. I think you need to see a little bit more of a sample size before you can, really determine how effective it is. Which that I think they're gonna do it a lot over the next couple of weeks, so you get a lot more of a sample size. But in terms of the goal line stuff, I think that my favorite thing that I saw Texas do the entire day against San Jose State was come out in that full house package where they had 3 guys in the backfield. Yeah. I want to see that every single time you're on the 1 yard line. Every single time. I don't want to see a defensive tackle come into the game and be your fullback. I want the 3
so much.
I want the full house with the 2 tight ends and the running back there and the 2 tight ends on the line, and just try and go win in the trenches and bully people that way. And CJ almost got into the end zone. If he would have extended the ball a little bit, I think he would have got in, but I understand why he pulled it back, because it could have gotten knocked out. But that's all stuff that I really like to see. I anything that you can do to be different this season as opposed to what you were last season under Quinn Ewers and keep people guessing, I think is a good thing. And then when you look at the other things that they're doing with Arch as well, I think that they need to get him out on the move a little bit more. I mean, you look at Colt McCoy and what he was so good at, and I've heard Chip talk about this before. It might have been on one of our shows, one of their shows earlier this week. But Colt McCoy was almost, and I totally agree with him, Colt McCoy seemed like he was better on the move than he was sitting in the pocket. And I feel like Arch kind of has that same, aspect to his game. I think he's more comfortable when he's on the move and rolling out and finding guys while he's, not just sitting in a pocket waiting for something to happen. And so I think that they need to do that more too, more rollouts and things like that. But overall, the under center thing, I think, is just going to be a positive development. I hope that they implement it enough to where they're comfortable with it over the next couple of weeks, to where, you come out against Florida in the Swamp, number 1 snap, you go under center, you do a play action. I would love to see that it's developed that far. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, but I hope that it gets there.
No, and I think that is, you did bring up one of the best points too, is this is 3 years into the system. This is the first year, because the other years you're the backup for Quinn Ewers, and Quinn Ewers doesn't go under center.
Mm-hmm.
So you, for 2 years, did not work on the fundamentals of under center, turn your back to the game, turn back around. And it's like, go play Madden, and then as soon as you snap the ball, close your eyes for 2 seconds and then make the play and see how much harder it is. So that world, it's difficult. If you're just the first time going up against these defenses and the disguises and everything else, and you're really trying not to make a mistake, and then you go, all right, turn, and your clock going 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. And you go 1, 2, now I'm seeing it, now get the ball out. That's rough to do for experienced players, but it becomes easier the more you do it. As far as rollouts and everything, that kind of falls into the same category too, of when you do those rollouts, which you can do on a play action, it shrinks the field. It shrinks what your playmaking ability is. So it makes your options less. When you turn around and play action, you have the entirety of the field, both next to your screens, everything is available. When you run to the right, everything to your left is now gone. Everything behind you now ceases to exist. I mean, they're still going to try and tackle you and everything else, but you're really only looking ahead of you now. That everything on the other hash mark, completely not a problem for you anymore. Let those guys play over there, because you're not supposed to throw the ball back across your body. So it shrinks the field, which makes the decision process quicker. For Arch Manning, that's been the issue the first couple of weeks, is just that clock and the speed of the game and how much, and so if you can say we're playing 7-on-7 instead of 11-on-11, it helps. We're playing 5-on-5. cool. I can play 5-on-5 all day. But it's when you put that 9th, 10th, 11th guy out there, and they're coming to either kill me in the backfield or try and pick the ball off, that makes it a little bit more difficult for me to make my decision. So I get it, and those are things, he's going to have to keep learning throughout the season, but it's interesting of putting him under center. I like doing it now. I'm really, really curious how much they stick with at least play action. I think that may become less and less under center. And I know that kind of kills a little bit because they're like, they just don't do play action. And so, we're fine. If it's a handoff, it's a handoff. Arch is not really disguising it much either. He gets pretty far away from the play and sticks his arm pretty far out there. So it doesn't necessarily look too much like it's a trick. All that being said, I think that it's a good way to work in the red zone, and you just have to figure out a way. Sark, we've always talked about, really good at setting things up. He just needs to use that to continue to set things up, but not overuse it to the point where he's going to cost himself, have to punt the ball and not even get in the red zone.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Even if they start to do some play action stuff that's just like really quick, and I'm not talking about like the full, Tom Brady, like you bend down and make it really sell the play action and then turn back around. Just like, even just a quick drop back, like yank, put the ball out, yank it back, and then do something like that. I think that those are, if you see play action in the SEC, it's going to be more of that kind of thing. Yeah. But I'm excited to see where they go with this, because it's a nice little wrinkle that I didn't expect coming into the season.
No, I do like it. And it's got to grow with a lot of other pieces. It's just when you have a quarterback with a lot on his plate right now, maybe Stark would have reconsidered it if he would have known how much was on Arch's plate week 1. But once you're into it, you can't now just completely take it away. So you're like, all right, we're kind of in. We're in there with the bed we made. So we don't necessarily want to just kill it now. If we want to kill it a little bit more in the SEC, we will. But let's see how we get over these next couple of weeks. And, look, we're the number 1 ranked team in the country. You're a Manning. You're going to get thrown in the deep end. It is what it is. We're playing Ohio State week 1. You're getting thrown in the deep end. And we'll figure it out from there. But we know you're going to be able to tread water. Can you swim? And that's what we want to say. Sark also spoke about explosive plays. We talked about it against this UTEP defense. That is something that is very viable to happen. But he spoke about how they've been able to already get some explosive plays going a little bit better than they were early last season. And the thought process of getting that done without necessarily just chunking the ball down the field the whole time.
Yeah, no, I think what it says is one, I think when you look at the skill set of kind of the 3 guys that were kind of catching those balls, right, or the majority of them, Parker, Ryan, and Jack, all have, can stretch the field ability. And I think sometimes when we think explosive plays, we think always throw it over their head. And a lot of times a lot of those throws can be made kind of in that intermediate range. And those guys have the stride length to get there. I think we saw the explosive playability of a Jordan Washington, another guy who can do that, and Amari Winston. And so what I like about this group, and then all those guys you just referenced, we're not reliant upon 1 or 2 guys to create those explosive plays. I think we've got a roster now full of players that can do that. The ball can be distributed, kind of equally and evenly around. And so if you want to take away a Ryan Wingo down the field, Parker Livingston can make his plays. Jack Endries, Jordan Washington. When Demo gets back, we all know what he's capable of. When Trey Wisner gets back into the fold, what he's capable of. So I think for us, that's the comforting part, is that we can do all that with the group that was out there last week, knowing we have more guys that'll be back for us. But yet we're not just relying upon 1 or 2 of them. A lot of these guys have explosive playmaking ability. And I also think Arch has the ability to make those throws. There's throws that he can make, down the field. There's throws that he can make in those intermediate ranges, and then he can create explosive plays with his legs. And so there's kind of 3 levels to it all, not to mention the run game. And I think if we can get that going to be that last piece to this puzzle, we can really be an explosive offensive football team. But to do that, we need to remain consistent. And that's blocking, that's fundamentals, that's technique, that's details in our routes, things of that nature. so that when we get those explosive plays, a few of those came back last week. We had a tough holding penalty on Trevor Gooseby on a run. That was a tough call on him. I think we had a block in the back by Aaron Butler on an explosive play to Parker Livingston. So we got to kind of, like as I talked about, minimizing some of these self-inflicted wounds. Those are some of the things that I'm talking about.
There's Sark speaking about what they can do with explosive plays. Also, once again, throws in no more penalties. Too many penalties on explosive plays.
Yeah, I will come out and say right off the bat, that call on Aaron Butler was extremely ticky-tacky. I hated that call. I don't think that should have been a flag whatsoever. It had no effect on the play. So, irregardless, that's the thing about this Texas football team that's still so hard to figure out is the explosive play element, because they have all the pieces to do it, and they've just been so inconsistent about it the last couple of weeks. There's been so many self-inflicted wounds and with drops and penalties and things like that, and with Arch just making some errant throws here and there. I think this is a great opportunity for them this week to really hone in on that aspect of the game, because I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for them to do that. This defense for UTEP is extremely aggressive, and they're going to leave you opportunities to get explosive plays based on that aggressiveness. So I would hope that they try to take advantage of that early and often. And another guy too that almost made a hell of a play last week, but it just didn't quite work out, was Aaron Butler. He almost had a sick one-handed catch down the sideline that would have been an explosive play. I want to see him get involved a little bit more too. He was a really talented guy himself coming out of high school. A lot of people wanted him. Texas was able to get him. He hasn't been able to make an impact yet. I think that, this week he may have an opportunity to get himself in there and make some explosive plays as well. But really the guy that I want to see get the most explosive plays this week is, I think, the guy that everybody wants to see make the most explosive plays this week, Ryan Wingo. Got to secure the ball on the run.
Yeah.
And use your athletic ability to make some explosives. And if he can do that, I think his confidence is going to settle in. If he makes a couple of those plays this week, he won't be pressing as hard to make them next week and then the week after. You know what I mean? So
100%. Once it breaks through, it feels like, okay, now it's football again. And now it's just that first thing. And that's like Colin Simmons. He just wants to have a 2-3 sack game. Like, get a 2-sack game. And then I think it's like, okay, let's build off that 2-sack game. But the whole not really getting to the quarterback, it's just, I got to hit a quarterback, man. I got to hit one. I'm itching.
Yeah.
I'm fiending, man. I need to hit a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that stuff's going to work itself out. I think that, like I said, once Ryan Wingo gets a couple of those under his belt, things are going to be fine there. It's just, and maybe Arch hit him above the waist on some of these short things. That would be huge. Above the waist and not 2 feet above his head. That would help a lot.
Right. On the numbers. If you could get to the numbers in stride, we'll be going. That's what Clayton says. I'm ready for Arch to get comfortable. We all are, man. We all are. How much better life would be if I walk back into this, walk back in to do the show on Monday, and I'm like, well, that was the Arch we wanted to see. And then we get to do same. And then a Monday later, we're like, 2 in a row of him looking really comfortable. Only maybe one really bad throw in the game, but the rest of it, he looks pretty comfortable. And it's like, all right, now we feel like we can go to Florida and have a good chance to go up there. And JSDTX, I don't know if we've always played down. I don't expect 70-point blowouts. I'm with you on that. Those are 70-point blowouts. We normally don't play teams that are that incredibly bad. They don't play like, FCS schools that are really, really bad. That you can get those 70-point blowouts, the ones that we're like, we don't even know what the mascot is. So those are the ones where you see teams do that. Now, I know Oregon just boat raced Oklahoma State. So some teams do it every time. Oregon is a front runner that just takes it, and they're really good at racking up those scores. But I don't know if Texas the last couple weeks has necessarily played down to their opponent so much as just made a bunch of mistakes. Because playing down the opponent, we had many years of doing it, and it was where everything looked really bad. This was just like you could pick out each one of the mistakes versus a team just not performing. And I know it sounds silly that those are two different things, but to me, watching this team play last week, it was, all right, well, we had a big play wiped off the board there because of a stupid penalty, or we kept their drive going because of a stupid penalty, or, we missed one block. One player missed one block. Everyone else did their assignment. 10 guys did. One guy missed, and that'll cost you. I think that was more the case than 11 guys not showing up to play.
Yeah, and I think that there's 4 plays that you can point to where if those mistakes don't happen, you can keep the other 8 for all I care. If there's 4 plays offensively that you can point to that if they don't make the penalties on those plays, Arch throws for like 425 yards and probably 5 or 6 touchdowns. There's the jet sweep early in the game to DeAndre Moore. There's the block in the back by Aaron Butler, the hold by DJ Campbell, and even that that pass to Dalen McCutcheon that he dropped. Connor Stroh let the guy through, and Arch had to make a weird move so he could get the ball off, and that ended up being a drop. It would have been like a 10, 12-yard gain. All those things, if you just erase those mistakes, you probably win that game, 52-7. So it's obviously you made those mistakes, so that didn't happen. But I'm just saying the opportunities for this team to be explosive and score a ton of points were there last week. They just got in their own way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Couple more clips we'll play for you before we take our first break. Sark also mentioned the tight end room. We spoke about Jack injuries is possible. We don't know. There is no injury report because it is not an SEC game. But we've heard that he's not 100%. Sark is not going to put him out there if there's a reason to not put him out there. He could play a little bit. He got pulled probably first of anybody last week that wasn't necessarily injured. And so we'll see. He feels he has a good room. Here's Sark speaking about that tight end room, though, that he played a lot of guys in last week.
Yeah, they're both very natural catchers. They both got very good hands. Both of those guys, Jordan in particular was really almost a wide receiver in high school. So his comfort level running routes and catching the ball it's normal to him as well as Amari. I think the evolution for those guys of really becoming tight ends, especially for Jordan, how critical was last year for him of learning the position of tight end and, having missed basically all of spring football practice, a credit to him to get back to where he is now, as being a reliable, 3-down player for us that way. And I think one of the unsung guys in all this is Nick Townsend. I just don't think that everybody's seen him yet. He's a very physical player. He's got great hands as well. So that's a deep room for us, probably deeper than we've had since we've been here. And we're just trying to utilize all those guys to the best of their ability.
There's Sark speaking at the tight end room and throwing in Nick Townsend now as somebody who had some good plays. And now he joins the conversation of Winston and Jordan Washington. And we know Spencer Shannon. There's 4 guys past Jack injuries that you feel good. This is by far the best tight end room they have had since Sark's been there.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. And I think it's going to end up being a huge advantage for them this season, especially once some of these young guys get comfortable. Jordan Washington in the passing game is going to be an absolute beast once he gets, fully acclimated into playing the position at the college level. Nick Townsend looks like a just absolute beast and a half in run blocking. Spencer Shannon has been good blocking. He's had a couple mistakes here and there. He's been getting open. He just hasn't been able to get the opportunities to catch the ball yet. And Amari Winston made that great catch. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for these guys. I'm excited to see it happen. You really want to have Jack injuries here, though, healthy.
Yeah, 100%. But I think you want to have 2 tight ends in a lot of these sets. The 12 personnel, when they're running 2 tight ends, they're looking pretty good right now. And so I think that having that multiple guys that you can put in there and show and use in different ways and have different plays for different guys is a really good piece for this tight end room. And yeah, to have 2 freshmen that you really, really like as well in Nick Townsend and Emery Winston, I mean, you feel much better about it, where it's constantly kind of been can we get a transfer? Can we find somebody to tide us over for another year? And then Gunnar Helm came out and showed out last year. Now it feels like you don't necessarily are going to have to go to the portal after this year. You expect Jack Endries, though, to again, the way he played early so far this season, I think you're looking at Jack Endries going, all right, well, this is another draft pick. This is another NFL player coming out of this and another tight end going in the league for the Longhorns. Last football play for you today because we're already running out of time. Sark talked about the UTEP defense and get you ready for it. This is a UTEP defense who is 10 sacks, I think, 10 sacks, 23 tackles for loss in their first 2 games. They're 1-1 with 10 sacks and 23 tackles for loss. They get after it. So we talked, there's potential for big plays out of it. They do miss tackles. They do all that, but they get after you behind the line of scrimmage. They're going to move around a lot. They're going to try and confuse this defensive line or this offensive line who has been confused already a little bit this season. Here's what Sark had to say about preparing for that UTEP defense.
Yeah, very unique. I talked about it Monday to your point, Jeff, is like the first game we played Ohio State, and they were a big physical, especially on first, second down, not a ton of movement, almost 2-gapping us, to playing San Jose State last week. They were smaller, quicker, moved every snap, stunted, all the different things. We're stemming the front. And UTEP kind of falls into that category of San Jose State. We're going to get a ton of movement, and I don't think we handled it really well last week. I felt like we could have been much better than we were. And so we've challenged them this week. I don't know if we ran a snap on scout team defense where the D lineman just stood in the same spot. And so our job as coaches, like I was talking about earlier, it's like, okay, if we're going to emphasize block and movement better, we surely better give them more movement throughout the week. And we got to give them more difficult looks that way to prepare them for that. And again, I thought our scout D-line did a great job of wiping blocks, running their games, doing their things, and stressed our offensive line a ton. And I thought we improved as the week went on. And so that's going to be a good challenge for Saturday. It's going to be something worth watching for sure.
Another piece of getting this offensive line ready. They were the big worry before the season. Then week 1, we go, okay, offensive line looks like they're going to be able to hold their own. Week 2, step backwards. So now you're trying to prepare them for this UTEP defense. Make sure that Ohio State game is far in their rear view mirror, and you're now looking forward, not backwards. You can learn from the past, but you do not want to sit there and be worried about somebody doing something that it's not on their scouting report. You should be able to know how to deal with it if it pops up, but if they don't do something, then don't be expecting it. If they, if you're worried about them doing a swim move and all they do are spin moves, then you're preparing for the wrong game. And for this team, they know guys are going to move around. They're going to try and find a way to get to the quarterback, get to the running backs. You just have to be able to set those protections. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're probably faster than some of these guys too, even though they're edges. This is going to be a good test for Texas. This line, what's a good number for you of sacks and tackles for loss? You answer that one in the chat too. There's going to be at least a sack probably, and there's going to be at least a tackle or 2 for loss, because you're also going to have some young guys playing. But, are you saying don't even allow a sack, get the ball out, have the game plan? What are you looking at for this offensive line to be able to do and this Texas offense to do against this UTEP defense?
I mean, obviously you want to minimize the sacks. They only allowed 1 last week to San Jose State, which, considering the problems that they were having, keeping those guys in front of them throughout the game, was extremely positive. And then you also only gave up 1 to Ohio State as well, which, again, super positive considering that's an extremely talented defensive front. So I think, your goal here is 1 sack, maybe at most.
Yeah.
I don't think that UTEP is going to present anything talent-wise that they haven't seen in the last couple of weeks. What they're going to do creatively to try and create those sacks is a different story. But I think based on what you saw last week against San Jose State with the different ways that they tried to come after you with their quickness, I think that's going to prepare you a little bit better this week. Tackles for loss are going to happen with this offensive line. I feel like in the running game, there's, especially early on, Connor Stroh got the start at, I believe, left guard, and Cole Hudson, he in the tandem, him in tandem with Cole Hudson was just not good on the first couple of drives. I went back and watched some film this morning. and they struggled really early on in that game with penetration and communication and those kinds of things, like, making sure they were in the right place. So you can't have that this week. Otherwise, you're going to give up a lot of tackles for loss. I think that, I'm not calling for a guy to lose his starting job necessarily, because they've been rotating throughout the year anyway, early on. But I think if you're running the football, like, especially early in the game, I feel like Neto Umeazulu has been better than Connor Stroh in that sense, or at least he was last week. So, those are things to look at. But overall, like, it seems like this defense just creates those opportunities. So just minimize them as much as you can, particularly the sacks, because I think that those derail you a little bit more than a 1 yard tackle for loss on a first down run or something like that. I mean, neither is ideal, obviously, but so, if they get out of this game by giving up one sack, I'll be really, well, I won't say get out of the game. If Arch gets out of the game with one sack, I'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think they're going to come after, and you just want to see them. And it's like, again, all the things we talk about, the numbers are kind of subject to how does that one look? Is it a sack where it's one player missing an assignment, and which player is it, and how bad is it? Or is it, the ones that are the worst is they put 4 against our 5 and they got him. Those ones are annoying, because that is just a lack of ability to stop them at a 4-on-5. They draw up a great play and Arch holds on to it too long, so be it. But you don't want to see too much of that. You want to be able to pick those up. That's pretty much going to be a big piece of what we see in this game. And like for the running backs, I think that's really, like, this is a game this week where you don't get to dance anymore, guys. They will get you if you dance. If you want to go, so like Christian Clark danced a lot last week. You got to get rid of that. CJ Baxter's been dancing. It's getting better about him finding that hole a little bit quicker. Jarrett Gibson's probably the best at going straight at it. He just can't hold on to the football. So, and then James Simon ain't played yet. What's he going to be able to do if he gets into the game as well? But I think that this is a good test against those guys, because, again, you can make a big explosive play if you get out of this, but having that confidence to hit the hole that you think is there, and if you only get 2 yards, you get 2-3 yards, but don't get hit for losses. Don't put it at a first and 10, incomplete, 2nd and 10, 2-yard loss, 3rd and 12. We're not hitting, like, that's, Arch has not been great at those. Like, Texas has not been great at those this season. So let's not get ourselves in 3rd and longs because you're dancing behind the line trying to break a big play, and just go make the play you want to make and go get it. I think that's a big piece of what we want to see this week for Texas. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take our first break, Matt. We'll come back. I do want to get into still ranking the SEC. We haven't done that. I've been on the schedule. So let's rank the SEC, where we're at after 2 weeks, a little bit of what we thought was going to be versus what it actually is. Let's kind of go through the thought exercise where Texas still is on that list, where some of these other schools were ranking after a couple of weeks. I want to put that on paper. And then we'll also talk a little bit about this game tonight, Thursday Night Football, Commanders and Packers, another good game on Thursday Night Football. Looking forward to that one tonight. We'll get into that and more when we come back here on Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
At Sleep Cycle Center, we can treat your sleep apnea in various ways. My story starts 15 years ago with the loss of my father to undiagnosed untreated sleep apnea. And this is a very preventable disease, and treatment options are various. Millions of people across America have sleep apnea, and they fail to realize the early warning signs. Fatigue, daytime sleepiness, and snoring are the most common signs. We'll find the best solution using advanced technology, oral and epigenetic appliances, or CPAP. We offer weight loss, oral surgery, and laser treatments. Schedule your appointment today and get your sleep evaluation.
If you're looking to remodel a kitchen, renovate your bathroom, or maybe add some new life to your outdoor space, reach out to our friends at McCall Custom Homes. They are custom home builders and renovators here in Central Texas, and they've been doing it in Central Texas for more than 40 years. It's a father-son team with a ton of experience, and all of that experience is here in the Austin area. So they know what it takes to turn an Austin area home into something truly, truly special. Right now, our friends at McCall Custom Homes are offering free estimates to TSU listeners so they can come out to your place, hear your vision, they can tell you what they can do, and then you can go from there. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their website, McCallCustomHomesATX.com. Look at the gallery of jobs they've done over the last 4 decades. And then when you're ready, again, reach out to them and they will come to you. McCallCustomHomesATX.com, or you can call or text Mike McCall directly at 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Field goal, end zone, interception.
What's up, kid?
Just trying to write a new commercial for audiovisual consultations. You know, football season is about to start.
Okay, so what have you got so far?
Roses are red, violets are blue, football is awesome, our installations are too.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting what I want.
Okay, how about my football lies over the ocean?
Boy.
Yeah, I guess I just don't really understand this sport. Like, think about hockey, a sport played by real men. Fights, no TV timeouts, and no flopping.
Yeah, that's why Audiovisual installs systems so that every customer feels like they're right there on the field.
People's love for football might be hard to understand, but AVC can tackle any residential or home improvement to get you ready for the big game.
Now you're getting it.
Ready for the halftime show?
What?
Hug your kids, laugh with strangers, and make love to whoever the hell you want.
Just call us at 255-8678. That's 512-255-8678.
Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. Text line's open 512-222-9328. Shout out to Chan there on the text line. And, of course, the chat open on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, all those places. If you're on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. Enjoy hearing from all you guys. Third member of Open Gym here on the show. Just listen to some Sark audio, talk some Texas football. But let's look at the SEC as a bigger picture, Matt, and start to kind of, we do our power rankings of the NFL. We may not do these every week, but I am curious. We may do them throughout the season to kind of rejudge where we have some of these teams. We didn't really do it before the season, so now we get a guess. We look at these teams, go a couple weeks of knowledge, some big games already being played. I think we would have both had Texas leading the way. They are no longer probably leading the way. There's some teams that have showed up those first couple weeks, and kind of just rank where we think the SEC is at in week 2, so we can see where the teams we're playing are at, where some of these other teams and what we like. Matt, we get to ranking the SEC, and it does feel like there is probably an easy answer at number 1. I don't want to say it, but it feels like there's an easy answer at number 1, doesn't it?
There is for me. I know that it's, not what you want to hear, but the LSU Tigers are the best team in the SEC right now, Patrick, and it's been pretty evident, I think. I almost put somebody else number 1, but they ended up at my number 3. So, okay. But LSU, I think, is the most complete team in the SEC right now. They have the best quarterback right now. It's just really hard for me to take anything away from them for the last couple of weeks. Even though they didn't look great against Louisiana Tech, a lot of the other teams that were in that upper echelon didn't look great either this past week. So,
all right, yeah, I'm with you. I don't like to say it. I still think they will eat it before the end of the season. But so far, the big win over Clemson, and then they didn't look great in week 2, but still get the 23-7 win. The defense, which was kind of the biggest sticking point of everything for this LSU team, has looked much improved. And so if the sticking point was, well, they're going to throw the ball 50 times a game and they'll put up 35 points, but they can't stop anybody, that doesn't seem to be the case right now. It may pick back up. Maybe better teams will play with better offenses. We know that Clemson hasn't looked good the first couple of weeks, so maybe that wasn't the test we wanted to see. Louisiana Tech only puts up 7 on them, though. So I'll go ahead and say that was my big piece of what I thought they were not going to be able to do. They seem to be figuring that out. So LSU is your number 1 team in the SEC going through 2 weeks. Number 2, I think there's multiple teams you can justify putting at number 2. I think Georgia is justifiable to put here because it's Georgia. They haven't really played anybody, but they haven't lost to anybody either. So they feel like it's not crazy to put Georgia up here at that point whenever. I think you could talk Oklahoma, a win over Michigan. I think Oklahoma starts to be in that discussion early in the season. I'm not still completely sold on it. The 19 carries for John Mateer seems off. We have to see if Jay Knott's able to pick it up. He had 4 carries, looked not good, but he's still getting his feet underneath him. But that's a team that maybe you could put up there a little bit higher. People high on Tennessee because they beat some teams that were not very good, but they put the whooping. They put the Eastern Tennessee State University 72-12, 60-point win. All right, we'll put them up there. And I think Texas is still in that conversation, but with a loss, maybe they're not quite still that number 2 team, but they're in that conversation as well. After picking up another win, playing Ohio State too. I know the conversation afterwards was how bad Arch was in all those pieces, but let's not forget they had the ball. They could have come back and scored at the end of that game. And if they do end up coming back and scoring, everything changes. A whole narrative about Texas. Now they could be the best team in the SEC. So where do you go with your number 2,
Matt? I'm going to go with Georgia.
Okay.
I'm still not sold on Gunnar Stockton as the quarterback, but I think everything else they have there is elite right now. So I'm going to give them the edge over Oklahoma for now. But I've got Georgia number 2, and then I've got Oklahoma number 3 because they've just looked really good through the first 2 weeks, and I thought they could have beat Michigan worse than they did. How good Michigan ends up being is a question I have. But for now, I think Oklahoma is playing better than, Texas or Tennessee or any of the other ones I have.
No, and this is the deal with Oklahoma is like that Oklahoma team is playing really well. John Mateer is the Heisman frontrunner. I mean, him and Garrett Nussmeier are kind of the Heisman frontrunners right now, if you just look at the odds of it. But both those guys are up there as frontrunners right now. And so if we want to say the way they played, if we're judging after 2 weeks, I have to put them up here. I do think it's a little bit more tenuous than some of these other teams. Maybe Tennessee falls into that tenuous area as well, that you're like, this doesn't feel like we're going to be having this discussion in week 9, 10. But I think Oklahoma can start strong. It's just a question of, do they have the depth and can John Mateer stay healthy and then everything really work for all throughout the entire season? I think that's really your big question for them is early on, they look like they're going to be playing really good football. So Oklahoma at 3 is no worry. Where do you go at number 4, Matt?
I still have Texas above Tennessee.
Yeah, I do too.
I can't drop you from number 1 to number 5 because you lost on the road to the number 1 team in the country and you had a chance to win the game. Do I think that they're as clean as Tennessee right now? No. Tennessee's had better quarterback play. But, I still think Texas is better across the board than Tennessee. And I think that if they played, on a neutral field tomorrow, I wouldn't know where to go with it.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good game. I couldn't really pick a winner off the top of my head. So I'm just going to give Texas the edge.
Yeah. And I haven't watched tons and tons of Tennessee, so I won't go too far into it. But I have been reading pieces and bits from some people saying maybe Joey Aguilar, we should pump the brakes a little bit, that he has looked really good, but this is not against the type of competition he's going to have to see in the SEC. So we just pump the brakes a little bit on crowning that he will be as good as Nico Maliava as the season goes into SEC play. Maybe he will, but he's going to have to earn that a little bit more as the season goes on for the 5 team there.
Well, so what I heard, I've heard similar things. I've also heard that he's the best actual quarterback that they have had in quite some time, as opposed to Nico Iamaleava was just a really good thrower of the football. Those are two different. Those are two different.
I get you saying, yeah.
So maybe he's a better fit. I don't know. I'm with you though. I think the jury's still kind of out this early in the season.
Yeah, it's like, and I mean, we can say that, we'll say it freely about Arch as well. We won't know what Arch is going to respond to a better defense until we get to Florida and especially Oklahoma. Because Oklahoma, we know, is going to have a good defense and be really, really prepared. So until we get to those 2 weeks, we won't know, is Arch okay? Are the yips gone? Is the inexperience? Or we feel good 4 weeks into the season, 5 weeks into the season? Are you doing the Arch there?
No.
You did a wince and a day. I
actually have shoulder pain because I'm an old man.
I thought you were doing the Arch there. It's Matt's hurt. Everybody, you heard it for your first. Matt's hurt. Matt's
questionable for the press box this weekend.
All right, number 6 then. If we're going here, I think we mentioned all those teams. We can get to a couple more teams. A&M is in this conversation. Mizzou is in this conversation. Ole Miss is in this conversation for me. The 3 teams that I think are kind of that next piece. Vanderbilt's played well, but I'm not putting them there. South Carolina, it's been okay, but they just haven't really stuck out to me yet. So, and I'm not high on Auburn either. I get it. They won their game. I'm still not giving Auburn props. Still being an ass about that one. But I think
I am too, for the record.
Yeah, A&M, Mizzou, and Ole Miss, I feel, are kind of in that next range of teams that are playing well.
Yeah, I've got A&M 6. I probably would have had them closer to 9 after week 1, but I thought they cleaned up a lot of things from week 1 to week 2, specifically on run defense. And I've been saying this all off season. I'm gonna say it until they do it on Saturday. I think they're going to beat Notre Dame in South Bend, and I think they're going to cover that spread. So they deserve. They've played really well so far. They've got a lot of playmakers. They've really rebuilt their wide receiver group with explosive guys, and Marcel Reed looks like he's taken a step forward. So I've got A&M 6 here.
Okay, I'm not opposed to that. I said they're in that next group for me. Where do you go after that with, some people really, really high on Mizzou right now after that Kansas game, feel like they've got it figured out. Ole Miss gets it done with Kentucky, but it is close again. But it is again, the Ole Miss is one of those teams, and you kind of give credit the same way we're giving it to Georgia, that Lane Kiffin is always in this part of the pack, right? So I think there is that little bit of like, all right, well, you guys are not going to fall too far, because we know what you guys are. We figure we know what you guys are. But where do you go next?
I've got Ole Miss 7, and I think they should be right in the middle of the pack in the SEC for the simple reason that they can beat anybody in the SEC and they can lose to anybody in the SEC.
Yeah.
So they're right there in the middle. They could have played better against Kentucky. Austin Simmons got hurt. He threw a couple picks. But I've got them at 7 just because they've got the best running back in the SEC right now. Kawan Lacey's leading the SEC in rushing. And I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like they're going to be fine. I don't think they might not lose a game until they play maybe LSU. So I'm going to put them at 7 here, but it's very much fluid for me going forward.
All right. What do you like at 8 then?
I'm going to give it to Mizzou because they were just really good in week 1, and then they looked good against Kansas. I'm with them. I'd like to see it once it gets to the SEC because I still don't necessarily know if I believe in Bo Pribula. I think that's his name, their starting quarterback.
Yes.
But I'm going to give it to him right now because they're playing well.
Yeah, Bo Pribula is the guy that is like, he is very divisive as well. That they're like, look what he did to Kansas. And there's basically 2 thoughts on that. Oh, man, he did that to a group of 4 school or a power 4 school. Or, yeah, he did that to Kansas. Calm down.
Yeah.
Kansas has not been great, especially defensively. All right. We get in that next group of guys now where it is Alabama, who, we know struggled week 1 against Florida State. Auburn, who had no problem against Baylor. They went 42-3 over Ball State. So they've got some good wins under them. South Carolina is 2-0 as well. Vanderbilt 2-0, 44-20 win over Virginia Tech. We were talking about that Virginia Tech team going into the season and maybe getting one of those wins over South Carolina or Vanderbilt. SEC holds strong on those. Who do you have at number 9?
I've got South Carolina. Bama's going to be lower for me than you think, by the way.
All right.
South Carolina, I've got at number 9, just because I think that you can't drop Lenora Sellers too far.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
I think that they're gonna
He's no Jackson Arnold, but
but yeah, I've got South Carolina number 9. I think they're gonna end up being really good. It's kind of like a Texas situation for me, where they're still kind of trying to figure a few things out.
Yeah,
and once they figure them out, they're really gonna hit their stride. So I'll leave them at 9.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. 10. And look, there is a point for me that with Alabama, I do think there is a simple point where there's somewhere in this, like, there's somewhere right here. I know you're going to try and put them lower. I get the Florida State loss was embarrassing. They won 73-0 against Louisiana Monroe. Clearly looked better. Talent-wise on this roster, they're miles ahead of anybody that they're around. They're just talent-wise really, really above a lot of these teams. Now, they're not playing like it. They didn't play like it week 1. They played like it week 2. So out of 2 weeks, we saw a really abysmal performance. And then they really did do the run away with it, 73-0, we're back kind of thing. But this is what Alabama's been. Is Alabama has been, you talk about Ole Miss, and they could beat anybody. Alabama could beat anybody in the SEC. Alabama could also lose to anybody. Mississippi State could beat this Alabama team, but they could beat Georgia, and that's Alabama for you. And there's not a lot of these teams. Auburn can't beat Georgia. South Carolina, I don't know if they could beat Georgia. Maybe Lenora Sellers gets it done. Vanderbilt cannot beat Georgia. I don't think any of these other schools have the ability, because I don't think they have the talent level to really be able to go get that win. I think Alabama still has that. So there is some respect to me that I probably still, me personally, put them at 10, because I think now we're just talking about falling really, really far off of one bad week.
Yeah. I've got them at 13, but I'm prepared to move them up because, okay, but the one ranked team they played, they got their brains absolutely beaten.
They were bad. Yeah, it was bad.
Auburn beat a good Baylor team who just beat SMU.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt just beat the brakes off of Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Mississippi State just beat the number 12 team in the country.
They did.
So I'm prepared to slide Bama up a little bit further. I don't know if I can put them at 10. Can we come to like a sort of a business arrangement here? A handshake deal that they're at 11.
Okay, we can go with them at 11.
All right, we'll move them to 11, and then I've got Auburn at 10.
Yeah, I mean, they just played better the first couple weeks. Again, though, and this is why, like in the rankings, you're like, if you said Alabama versus Auburn, give Alabama 7 points, I'd be like, yeah, Alabama will cover. Like, I still think Alabama wins that game going away. And I know that, like, there's just that part of my brain. It's like, they're just so much more talented. And if they really show up for these games and try, they'll be fine. They just got to show up for the games and try. So I'll go with that. So, all right, we'll put them at 12. That may be a little low. We'll see what they
11,
come back
11.
with the next 11. Sorry. We'll put them at 11. Does that leave us Vanderbilt here that goes here, or is it Mississippi State with the big win?
I think it's Mississippi State with the big win. They've earned it. I dislike Mississippi State more than any other school in college football and any pro league. I hate them more than anything on earth. But I'm giving them number 12 because they earned it.
Yeah.
This is an extremely objective take from an Ole Miss grad and an Ole Miss fan. They beat Arizona State, who was ranked number 12 in the country. They have, outside of LSU, let me see. I'm going through it real quick. Outside of LSU, they have the best win in the SEC so far.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Look, it's questionable because we don't know what Arizona State's actually going to be. But yes, just by ranking and what preseason projection, yes.
At the current moment. At the current moment, they do.
It's always go back to that Texas Notre Dame game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, Mississippi State could still go 3-9, but right now they've earned the respect of beating the number 12 team in the country.
All right, so then Vanderbilt at 13.
Yes.
All right, Vanderbilt there at 13. Have played well. They play South Carolina this week, so if they want to keep moving up that chart, then go beat South Carolina, and you will get taken much more seriously with your first SEC win. Now we start to get into lower level, and I know Arkansas is probably looking around saying, the hell, why are we still so low? We won 56-14 last week. It was Arkansas State. They are 2-0. They play Ole Miss, so again, they get their chance to try and move up and make people feel better about them this week. But because they're 2-0, I might put them ahead of Florida and Kentucky. Just how bad Florida looked last week. I mean, like, to lose to USF, to not really be that team. There again, though, this falls into, if you tell me Florida versus Arkansas, I'm taking Florida. But I think Florida's going to get killed again this week. So,
I don't know that I would pick Florida over Arkansas right now. For the simple fact that, they looked absolutely abysmal against USF, and I'm trying to find. There they are, right there. Like 55-0 against Long Island does nothing for me.
No, I agree.
You should have scored 70 against Long Island. So, I'm giving it to Arkansas.
Okay.
They've looked really good. I think Arkansas is going to drop after this week because I do think Ole Miss wearing their icy blue, powder blue helmet, powder blue jersey, white pant look, which is one of the best in college football. I think, and I believe it's at Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it
yes,
Ole Miss?
At Ole Miss.
Yeah, so I'm taking Ole Miss in that game. So Arkansas might drop here this week, but they're not going to drop below Florida because Florida's going to get their brains beaten in by LSU. So,
all right. So then, where do we go at 15 and 16? Does Florida edge out Kentucky?
They do. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Although I will say this. Kentucky's backup quarterback last week.
Yeah.
That, Zach Calzada got hurt at one point and came out, and they put in their backup quarterback, and he looked way better than Zach Calzada. His numbers, so Zach Calzada was 15 of 30, and this guy was just 1 of 3, but he just looked way more comfortable, and he looked like he had a better arm and those kinds of things. So, if they win this week, then it's a conversation if Florida loses. But right now it's Florida.
Right. Well, that is so Florida comes in at 15. Man, that Billy Napier. It's almost like you wish you lost your job last year at this point.
Yeah. Well, if they beat USF, then it's a whole different conversation.
Well, of course it is. Yeah,
even though they look bad.
I mean, if they just don't screw up at the end of that game, then it's like, all right, they're not the team we thought they were, but they're still probably top 10.
I don't know about top 10, but I'd have them somewhere around like 12 or 13 at least.
It's so funny saying that too. Because I look at the top 10, I was like, they're not, but you just forget how good the SEC is.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, man, it is crazy that Alabama is 11 on this list. And you're like, Alabama is still a team that sports books will have as a favorite against
almost every team they play.
Almost every team they play, and they're not at the top just because so many good teams in the SEC right now. So we go LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Mizzou, South Carolina, Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Florida, and Kentucky. Wraps up that list.
So here's what I would like to do with this.
Yeah.
Also, kind of like in the NFL where we have tiers.
Yes.
I think we should have tiers in this thing.
Okay. I like that.
So here's what I'm suggesting, and you could move a team up in the tier or move a team down in the tier how you see fit.
Right.
I think that the first group is SEC title contenders.
Okay, so that's top 4 schemes.
That's the top 4 teams.
Okay.
I think that the next 1, 2, 3, 4, the next 4 are, on the kind of on the outside of the SEC title race, looking in, like they're almost there.
I think they're, if the season goes well, they're playoff teams.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, exactly. The next 4 are prove it.
Yeah, gotta prove it.
And then the next 4 after that are, really the next 5 are prove it, and then the next 3 after that are, I don't believe in you.
Yeah. Hey, good job. Good luck keeping your job.
Yeah.
Good luck keeping your job. Yeah, I like that. I like those 4 tiers as well. Yeah, because it's like actual contenders. Any of these teams, if you wanted to pitch me that they could win the SEC and could possibly win a national title, I'm on board with the pitch. I wouldn't have said that about Oklahoma before the season, but 2 weeks in, I'll listen to the pitch. And then, tier 2 is like, these are playoff teams. If Mizzou continues to play well, if that quarterback, what's that quarterback's name again?
Bo Pribula.
Bo Pribula. If he continues to play well, Eli Drinkowitz was good a couple years ago. Could he turn that back around? Missouri also has the easiest schedule in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Also
remember that. So that's, something going for them, that their schedule is pretty easy in the SEC. So they could come in and they've already beaten the Power 4 school they're playing in Kansas. They can move right ahead. Alabama plays Wisconsin this week, so they actually do play 2 Power 4 schools, but Wisconsin, I believe their quarterback is going to be out for the game.
Yeah. And my reasoning for Arkansas, even though they're 2-0 and they've won 52-7 and 56-14,
is because Sam Pittman's their coach.
Well, I've got a couple reasons. Number 1, Sam Pittman is their coach. Number 2, it was Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State. And then number 3, their next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games are this. Number 17, Ole Miss, at Memphis, which is a pretty good Group of 5 team. Notre Dame, at Tennessee, Texas A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, at LSU, at Texas, Missouri. So they very well could go 2-10.
All right. I like it. Let's take our second break real quick. We'll come back, wrap it up, talk a little bit about that Commanders and Packers game, see what we predict is going to happen there, and get to our meathead of the day as we wrap things up here on Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Hayden Covert. Welcome to Covert Buick GMC of Bee Cave, your home in the Hill Country for new and pre-owned Buick and GMC vehicles. With beautiful inventory arriving daily, including the GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500, and Buick Enclave, you'll be certain to find the perfect vehicle at an incredible deal. Our service department is also open for all your vehicle maintenance needs. Visit us today for a test drive. Covert, born and raised in Austin. We are professional grade.
Altstadt Beer, the best beer that you can find all throughout the great state of Texas. Y'all know I've been a fan of Altstadt for years now, and if you try it, I think you will be too. If you've already tried it, you know exactly what I am talking about. Altstadt is brewed locally in Fredericksburg, but available all over the state of Texas. So if you're tuned in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, it does not matter. You can find Altstadt at a local grocery store or liquor store. They've got a bunch of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. The Lager, the Kolsch, those are their 2 flagship beers, both award winners. They are fantastic. The Altstadt Light sacrifices on calories but does not sacrifice on the taste. They've got great pills, tons of great seasonals as well. I'm telling you, one sip and you won't go back to the other beers you've been drinking in the past. It is the official beer of BK. It should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Hey y'all, I'm Camille McKay.
And I'm Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations.
The old man and I are here to give you your summer weather forecast. It's hot.
That's right, kid.
Which means it's time for pool parties, grilling burgers, and taking a beach vacation, right?
Well, I don't know about a vacation, but Audiovisual brings more heat than any tropical destination.
It was worth a shot. I'll settle for some outdoor speakers.
You know, Audiovisual can do a lot more than that. We provide outdoor video screens, audio systems, landscape lighting, even solar shades for your patio to keep the Texas heat at bay.
Well, I'm sold. Let's wrap this up. I'm ready to lounge on a floaty and listen to some smooth jazz.
Well, that sounds wonderful, but some smooth reggae is the way to go this summer.
Good thing we can listen to both with the Sonos sound system. I call dibs on the floaty, though. Peace out.
Kid, wait a second. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us at avconsultations.com. That's 512-255-8678.
Back here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered, wrapping it up on a Thursday afternoon. A big game tonight in the NFL, Matt. Getting to see a Commanders team with Jaden Daniels against the Packers. Micah Parsons going to be trying to chase him down. Jordan Love versus Jaden Daniels. Heck of a game on a Thursday night. Thursday night games are weird. I have pulled Matthew Golden from my lineups because Thursday night games are weird, and I think he may take a couple more weeks to be fully integrated and ready. I still do believe in Matthew Golden. I think it's just going to take a couple more weeks until he gets there. But what are you looking at? Green Bay is favored by 3.5. It is in Green Bay, but not the frozen tundra of Green Bay. It is just, nice. Let's see what the actual look is there. The actual temperatures are. What do you like about this game tonight?
Well, Patrick, I've actually got a kind of a counter argument for you here with Matthew Golden. I'm not trying to mess with your fantasy lineups.
No, go for it. Go for it. I want to hear
really
it.
don't want to be held accountable if you end up losing because of this decision.
Go for it.
But I think a Thursday night game being weird is precisely the opportunity for a rookie to step up and have his biggest performance of the season so far. I'm not saying that I would play him. I'm just saying the opportunity might be there for Matthew Golden when you look back that he's got like 18 points on your bench. So
that probably is the case. That's why I'm benching him, for Matthew Golden's own sake. I will bench because we know the world revolves around me, clearly. And whatever's on my fantasy team will not go. Yeah, Jordan Love only threw for 188 in that big win. They're going to try and run the ball some, try and do different things. So I'm not 100% sure if I would go with that. We do see the 3.5 point favorites. I don't see if it's not giving me what the weather is. I was trying to, normally it tells me what there it is. 65 degrees is what they're saying for the game. 65. So
weather,
that is beautiful weather to go get this game. What do you think happens? Are you all in on this Green Bay team, or is the NFC going to bite back? Is your division, the NFC East, going to bite back and get in here and get a big win with the Commanders?
I really believe in this Packers team. I think that Josh Jacobs is going to have a decent game. I think Jordan Love is going to play really well. My biggest concern, obviously, for Green Bay is the legs of Jaden Daniels and that new running back,
Bill.
What's his?
We just go with Bill.
Bill Krosky Merritt.
It was their first name's not Bill.
Yeah, Jacory.
It's like Jacory Krosky Merritt. He just goes by
Yeah.
Bill. It's just easier to remember. Bill.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Green Bay. I don't feel great about it. I do think Terry McLaurin has a nice bounce back game tonight.
I can see that. I'm playing against Terry McLaurin, so I prefer that not to be the case. But once again, the world revolves just around me. Everything is decided upon that. So we will see what that happens. I mean, it's going to be an interesting game tonight, seeing how these two teams add up. I am curious to see how well Jaden Daniels goes against this. There is the fun part of Dan Quinn and Micah Parsons playing against each other. We were expecting to see that in the Cowboys. We're going to see it with the Packers now. But that is a fun little matchup we get to see. So I'll go ahead and I'll just go and be the contrary point, and I'll still go with the Commanders to win this game. Even though maybe that's not the best choice in the world. I'll go ahead and do it to be contrary, Matt. Just to do it. Want to give you a meathead real quick. How much money would you have to be paid to get this tattoo, Matt?
Man, that might be the worst tattoo I've ever seen. I'd probably have to get a minority stake in the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh yeah, you have to have that everflow, that flowing amount of money then.
Yeah, like a 1% stake in the Dallas Cowboys.
There you go. I like that. We also do have a college football game tonight, starting in about 30 minutes. NC State at Wake Forest, big matchup. You got big predictions for NC State Wake Forest, Matt?
I'm going to go with NC State. because I had a buddy in college that was from that area and was an NC State fan.
Going with the Wolfpack.
Going with the Wolfpack. Also, Wolfpack, brings you back to the NWO Wolfpack days. So
there you go. Not that you're not going with the Demon Deacons.
Nah, I hate Chris Paul, so I can't go with the Demon Deacon.
But I love Tim Duncan, and he is the best player out of ever.
Each other out. He is the best player in the history of Wake Forest, though. That's a fact.
That is the fact. No, I don't know enough about this game. I did not look into it too much. But if you do want to watch some college football, it will be on as well tonight, 6:30. You can watch that game. If you don't want to watch NFL football, that'll be on. We'll get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, making all our predictions, wrapping up the week, getting you ready for Texas versus UTEP. But until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more from Open Gym.